This is what they came to see. The whole field fanned out 3 wide.
There's a first time for everything.
Baker's right there, dives to the inside. He comes to the line, and Waltrip will win it by half a car length.
A place where champions are separated from competitors.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Trouble in turn 1.
Oh, car on its roof.
Michael Waltrip. Mark Martin is in it, one of the championship contenders.
A huge hurdle on the way to Miami.
Take his 10th career victory at Talladega.
A track rich in history, where even more historic names have graced Victory Circle.
Earnhardt Jr. wins at Talladega.
Today, a new chapter in Talladega's history. Trucks, NASCAR Craftsman trucks, hit the high banks for the first time.
Bent down the hashes, it's about to get wild.
Who will win? Who will lose? Who will survive? It's all next on Speed.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman.
The Talladega Superspeedway has undergone a massive transformation. The old gray bumpy surface has been removed, and more than 50,000 tons of coal black pavement now make this world's largest speedway look smoother than a baby's butt. Today, for the first time ever, the Craftsman Truck Series tackles Talladega. Hi everyone, I'm Ray Dunlap, and welcome to the super speedway of all super speedways. We're here at the Craftsman pre-race site just outside of Victory Lane, and it's going to be a great race today. You know, I like to compare the John Deere 250 a little bit to like going to your first ever high school prom. You circle that date on the calendar, everybody's talking about it, there's lots of anticipation. Who's going to go with who? Well, I had a good date ready to go, and then mine dropped me right before the prom happened. And we're going to be talking about that happening a lot today. Who goes with who and who decides not to at the end of the day. And yesterday, folks, in the media center, we found out some news about who is going with who next year.
When you can compete, like I have been able to the last couple of years, at this level of competition, it's hard to step away from. I've got a chance to keep going on a limited basis with great flexibility in Nextel Cup competition.
For 20 years, Mark Martin has been running with Roush Racing, and we thought for sure he was going to be full-time in the Craftsman Truck Series this year. And then we thought for sure he'd be full-time in the Craftsman Truck Series next year. Well, that turns out that's not going to be the case, and today we have Hermie Sadler joining us on pit road and Chris DeVota, so let's get to what's hot in the news. Voda, you're first.
All right, well, if you've been watching Speed at all this weekend, you already know the news about Mark Martin. As we just said, we heard from there in the press conference, but we want to know, what does that mean for the Truck Series in 2007? Mark, are we going to see you in a truck at all, and what truck, if that?
Well, I certainly hope so, Krista. You know I love this truck racing, and I really haven't addressed that yet. You know, I hope so, and I have some preferences, you know, but I don't know if it'll work out or not. I love this Scott's F-150 that I drive here. The number 6 truck's awesome, and we're going to have a blast here today. It's going to be an interesting race. It'll be a preview for tomorrow's race, and I look forward to it. As far as next year goes, we're going to address that a little further down the road. Our focus really is primarily on doing everything that we can with the AAA Fusion. Jack and I are going to do everything that we can to give us our best shot at that championship. We're sitting pretty good right now, and we'll see how it looks after Sunday, but right now we're really focused on it.
All right, we're going to let Mark head on. Yeah, he's trying to win a championship in the Cup Series. That's really the only thing missing from that mantle, the only hardware missing. Today, of course, he's trying to win a truck race here at Talladega. Now, to catch you up on some other news, you know, this is the first time a lot of these guys, especially the rookies, have seen this track at all. The first time the trucks have been here. It's new pavement, it's a new track. But for one driver in particular, it's the first time and the last time he's going to see the track, at least from behind the windshield of a truck. That's because rookie sensation, the Australian Marcus Ambrose, is already making the move next year to the Busch Series. He will remain with Wood Brothers. He will drive the number 59 Busch Series car. That driver, Stacy Compton, will then return to the Truck Series. Stacy, of course, started out the year driving for Wood Brothers in the Truck Series. That means Marcus, he's never even raced on a super speedway. He did not race at Daytona. He was not qualified yet to do so. He will be racing at Talladega, and he likens this track, he said it's like driving in traffic in Shanghai in China just a couple 100 miles an hour faster. That's the news. And Hermie, I know you've got some more, and I think you've got some news about a guy who is going to be back in the series next year.
Yes, thanks, Kristen. If you follow Roush Racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, you know they've done a great job of grooming drivers like Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle on to stardom in the NASCAR Busch Series and the Craftsman Truck Series and Nextel Cup Series. Well, that trend appears to be continuing today with the announcement that Eric Darnell and the 99 truck has signed Northern Tool and Equipment to a primary sponsorship deal through the 2008 season that'll keep him in this truck and continue his development towards the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Good news for the 99 and good news for the future of Roush Racing. Ray?
Well, thank you, Hermie. It is good news to see new sponsors here. Of course, we hate to see Marcus Ambrose heading to the Busch Series. He's a great competitor, and he'll make his first start at Talladega Superspeedway coming up shortly. A big crowd is on hand here today as we get running for the first ever running of the John Deere 250.
Coming up on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show, we'll dissect why today's race at Talladega is going to be the one to remember. Four-time truck winner Rowdy Busch joins us on the set. Maybe you know him better as Nextel Chase competitor Kyle Busch.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman.
You know, the word Talladega is an Old Creek Indian term, and it means big chief in front of field, not stay there long. Well, I don't think that's what it really means, but nevertheless, we're going to be talking about that today, too. And Rowdy Busch is my guest today. Kyle, you have been out on this racetrack, brand new surface. What do you think of the track?
I think it's great. It's obviously really, really smooth. All the drivers have really complimented on it. It's a great racing facility now. There's some different lines and aspects to it now that the truck drivers, they've never been here before, so they're not used to it. They don't know what to expect, but coming out here today, I'm expecting to see a great Craftsman race here. Okay, you walked right into my very next question. What are we going to see for this race today? Because 35 or 40% of the field here has never been on this track at all. Yeah, it's definitely going to be, I hope it's not a wild and crazy one, but I think we're going to be okay. You know, I think some guys are going to realize that if you get in line for a little bit, you can kind of single file out, and you might see guys checking out from each other, but Talladega, it's not a handling racetrack like Daytona is, so you're going to see a pretty big pack. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw everybody in one pack here today. I think you're right. It's going to be about 9 rows of 4, probably. But the only thing we really know much about when they talk about Craftsman Truck Series Super Speedway racing is what goes on at Daytona. So let's have a look at that.
He almost crashed coming up for me. Here comes Mike Wallace in the lead. Mike Wallace, 2 years in a row, is going to win the first race of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the inaugural Daytona 250. He tries to make the pass as they're coming on the line. It's Rick Crawford making the pass, and Crawford wins the Daytona 250. Bobby Hamilton makes the pass, and problems right as they go across the start-finish line. The field is automatically frozen when the caution flag comes out.
Guess what? You're second today, buddy. I'll tell you, anytime we talk about Daytona, I get goosebumps, and we're getting closer to the start of today's race, and it's already starting to happen again, and Rick Allen will be calling the race from high atop the track, and he's got a guy standing by with him who's won here at Talladega before, right, Rick?
Well, exactly. And Phil, I was just going to say, you know, you've raced on this racing surface. Can we compare Talladega to Daytona?
Well, we can, but as Kyle was telling us just a moment ago, this is not a handling track, especially not with this new ultra-smooth surface. We're used to seeing these trucks bounce around, bounce into each other. We see that at Daytona. We're not going to see that here. That doesn't mean they're not going to touch, but this is going to be an incredibly competitive race. If we don't go across the start-finish line at the end of this race, at least side by side, I will be very, very surprised and disappointed.
Well, at these super speedway races, we always see the trucks running very close together, and what that means is we could see a big one here at Talladega.
Here we go, guys.
The big one.
It's just a matter of time.
Oh, trouble! Oh, and Scott Riggs on his roof. Oh, he got trouble. Terrible crash. Oh, trouble! Elliott Sadler over 1.5 and on his roof. It's the big wreck on the final lap. What drama here at Talladega. Whoa! Oh, look out! We got trouble. This is going to hurt. Oh my!
Keep your fingers crossed.
Anytime we see those big accidents happen, it just makes you go, oh no. But Kyle, here's the thing. We've got so much drag in these trucks, so much downforce, a brand new pavement. Are we going to have a big one today in this race?
Like I said before, you know, I sure hope not, but it can always be expected. And anytime you come to a racetrack this big, this size, this manner, you know, you've got the Cup Series with drivers the greatest in the world that have had crashes bigger than we've ever seen. So the Craftsman Truck Series, you know, these guys are going to be close. The drag that's involved in these things are going to be, you're going to see the slingshot like you do anytime you go to a restrictor plate race. But, you know, you're going to see a great race here today, I believe. And like I said, you know, hopefully if there is a wreck, it doesn't take too many trucks out of it where we can still have a great show at the end.
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of guys in this field today who don't race truck racing every week, but there's a few of them that could be odds-on favorites, and I think Krista is standing by with one of those.
That's true, Ray. You know, in that piece we just saw that horrific wreck, Jeffrey Bodine, when he wrecked, Mike Wallace was the winner of that race. It was an inaugural truck race at Daytona. You are so good at these super speedway races, but do you fear them at all? Is there a sense of fear when you come here?
No, not really. I mean, you respect the guys you race against, and you know who you can race against and who you can draft with. But I feel I understand the draft very well, and you know, I was fortunate enough to be the inaugural truck winner at Daytona. Got the great chance with Billy Blue Motorsports and Geico Insurance sponsoring our car for this, or this truck for this event. And I want to be the inaugural truck winner at Talladega. I always say you can win another one, but you can never win the first one. So I'm excited about it.
It only makes sense. We're going to let him head on. And of course, he kind of said car there because he's a little confused. He's running triple duty, the ARCA race, the truck race, and the Nextel Cup race here at Talladega.
And you know what else can happen? If you call Geico, you can save 15% on your car insurance.
Yeah, you've been taking cues from another friend of ours. We're going to talk to him later. Thanks, Mike. Hermie, what have you got?
The guy's had a lot of success at this racetrack over the years, a former winner in the NASCAR Busch Series. But Joe, first time in a Craftsman truck in about 10 years, and all new Talladega Superspeedway. What's it going to take to get this U.S. Army truck in victory lane today?
Well, I'm going to do the best job I can. It was a blast in practice. You know, a few of the trucks are pretty stout up there in the front, especially Mark. He's really tough. But once we get all in a big pack, man, you can go, and it's a lot of fun. The new asphalt here is very, very smooth. I think it's given all the drivers probably a little extra confidence right now, and that's good and that's bad. You know, if they take that a little too far, we're going to see something that everybody doesn't want to see. But so far, the U.S. Army truck has been pretty good. We never really got to make a qualifying run and really didn't know what we had, but it's driving great.
If experience plays a part in today's race, you can look for this guy to have a shot at victory lane. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Hermie. It's just about time to get things underway, so let's go down trackside and have the invocation to get today's race underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and remove your hats as the United States Marine Corps Color Guard presents our nation's colors. And now, will you please welcome Reverend Ken Farley of Alabama Raceway Ministries as he offers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this, another beautiful day in Talladega, Alabama. We thank you for the privilege of being a part of this inaugural truck race event at the world's fastest super speedway. We pray your protective care over every driver, every crew member, every fan, and we thank you for your many blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please remain standing and welcome the Talladega College Choir as they perform our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, o'er the
An unbelievable scene here at Talladega Superspeedway. The fans have been ready for this one for a long time. The crews are getting ready to go racing.
Time for a closer look at our points battle. It's for real, and it's on. Todd Bodine has a 91-point lead over Johnny Benson. Here's the deal. 5 races ago, Todd led the points by 182. In those 5 races, JB's team has gained 91 points over the Lumber Liquidator Tundra, an average of 18.2 points a race. Well, guess what? We have 6 races to go, and all Johnny needs is a little over 15 points a race to become the champion. Throwing out the numbers, JB needs to keep the 30 truck behind his back bumper for the rest of the season.
And we've always known that this race at Talladega is going to be a big variable in that chase for the championship. JB just 91 back. Look at Sprague and Bliss. They're separated by just 7 points, and Terry Cook holds on to 10th, just 13 points ahead of Dennis Setzer. Great points battle we've got going on, Kyle, but boy, what a variable we've got today. And you look at this racetrack, and I mean, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows exactly what to expect. We've got a completely different scenario we've ever seen. You know, being at Daytona, we know what Daytona looks forward to, but we don't know what Talladega looks forward to. Hopefully some great racing here today, and we can just kind of battle it out for the championship with Todd Bodine and Johnny Benson.
I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Now let's find out who Chris Devoda think is going to be at the front of the field today when we see that checkered flag.
Well, we mentioned Mike Wallace, Joe Nemechek, some Cup guys who are making an appearance here in the Truck Series. I like them. I think our truck regular to watch, though, is going to be Rick Crawford, the Alabama native. He's going to bring a win back to the state of Alabama. Hermie, who do you like?
Well, Krista, you took my pick. I was going to say Rick Crawford also, but the one to watch for, Johnny Benson, has always run well in these kind of tracks. A lot of experience, and he knows that he needs to make a statement to get back in this points race and put pressure on Todd Bodine.
Thank you, Hermie and Krista. Kyle, we're almost out of time. I want to know, who do you think is going to be in victory lane today?
Well, I'm going to go with the ex-Intimidator teammate with Mike Skinner. We're going to see how that number 5 truck comes through the field today.
All right, well, I don't know if you can beat Mark Martin, but I'll tell you what, his teammate Eric Darnell was awfully good at Daytona. I think that 99 truck might be up front at the end of the day today. It is just about time for those words that everybody loves, folks. Let's go down trackside.
And now, race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Will you please welcome Product Promotions Manager from the John Deere Company, Dan Walls, for the famous command.
On behalf of John Deere, our dealers and our customers, drivers, start your engines!
The engines are fired up. 36 drivers today have the dream of being the first ever truck driver to tame Talladega. Let's be perfectly honest, to prevail here, you're going to need some racing luck.
There's a first time for everything. A track where one mistake can end season aspirations. For the first time in series history, the trucks take the green flag at Talladega Superspeedway.
190, 195, 200 miles an hour. 200 miles an hour? Crikeys.
If you think the cars are exciting 3 wide, 43 deep, wait till you see the trucks 5 wide, 30-60.
You thought Daytona was action-packed? You hadn't seen anything yet. Daytona on steroids. It's going to be bigger, faster, meaner. First time ever for the trucks at Talladega, so if you come and watch this, you're going to see history in the making.
The wait's over. Super Speedway racing from Talladega. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series John Deere 250. A year ago, when the schedule came out for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, everyone circled October 7th as the race that they were going to focus on. Talladega for the trucks. Phil, you've won at this raceway. What are we going to expect today for the trucks?
I'm telling you, Rick, from the time they opened practice yesterday or the day before, these trucks were 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide, even 5 wide, all the way around this racetrack. The track is so wicked smooth that the trucks aren't jumping around any. It's going to be such an outstanding race. We're going to see trucks going to the high side, to the bottom, maybe on the apron. They're going to be all over this racetrack racing for this win. And Michael, you've been fortunate enough to win at this racetrack. What do you think we're going to see?
I think if I'm channel surfing, stop. You're not going to believe what's going to take place on speed over the next couple of hours. This place is crazy, like you said. It's a track that demands you respect it, but nobody wants to. Everybody wants to push the gas pedal and crowd and make their way to the front. Maybe the drivers are normal, you ask. Sorry, Phil, they can't be. We got a 47-year-old dad on the pole, a 20-year-old kid from Georgia second. There's an African-American, a woman, an Aussie, and a Hispanic driver in this field. They come from all walks of life, and they seem normal enough, but as soon as that green flag waves, they lose their brains, and they go at it hard until the checkered flag waves when they regain some sanity, but not a whole lot.
94 laps is what we're going to be running here for the Truck Series. They're going around in the pace laps. When we come back, we'll see the green flag.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman, by Team Chevy and the 2006 Monte Carlo SS, now with the legendary small block V8, Chevy, an American Revolution, and by FASTENAL, quality products and service from quality people. Expect it from FASTENAL.
Spectacular crowd on hand to watch the first ever race at Talladega for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The cars moving around this 2.66 mile tri-oval super speedway. Let's take a look at our starting grid. It's going to roll across the bottom of the screen. Mark Martin will start up front as he has grabbed another pole in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And if you remember, at Daytona to start off the season, our first super speedway race of the year, Mark Martin was on the pole.
He was, and he was able to stay in the front for most of the race, Rick. I don't see that happening today, Phil. There's too many good trucks, too many lines that these guys can choose to move around Mark. He's going to be in a hornet's nest all day long if he chooses to remain at the front.
And this is not a handling racetrack. Sometimes if you've got a good truck, it's handling well, you can stay ahead of some other guys at Daytona. Not here.
We're going to ride along with a few different drivers, and it will be an exciting ride as the trucks will get upwards of 193 miles an hour in the draft. One of those trucks we'll ride along with will be Dennis Setzer in the Chevrolet number 85, sponsored by the Shell Rotella T. And we will ride along with Dennis.
Look at him. I talked to Dennis before the race. He's starting in the back, but just like everybody in the field, Phil, he thinks he can win. It doesn't matter where you start today.
That's not at all. There's Mike Skinner right there. He's going to be starting in the 12th position. Mike is our most recent winner. Won 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas for his 19th career victory in his Toyota.
Here's Terry Cook in his truck getting ready to roll. Everybody looks calm inside those trucks, Phil, but that's not the case, is it?
They're going to be swatting flies here in just a minute.
They are. They're going to think they've gotten something they didn't want to get into.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. qualified up toward the front, but as Hamilton's have done in the past, we've heard his strategy is going to be to drop to the back and try to stay out of the potential big one that could happen at this racetrack. Let's head back down trackside and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I think that's going to be very interesting to see if that strategy works for Bobby Jr. and his teammates. When you look at the entry list today, there's only 9 drivers out there today that don't have a teammate that they can work with. But again, it's going to be who goes with who throughout the course of the day. But Bobby Jr. and his teammates are going to drop to the back and ride there because they believe there will be a big one today, and they don't want to be anywhere near it. Krista?
Well, Ray, if folks at home were watching the pace laps there, they saw one truck already drop to the back. The number 24 of A.J. Allmendinger, he's having trouble with his steering wheel. It's not aligned. It's misaligned. He cannot get it straightened. So he had to drop to the back on the backstretch, try to get that lined back up. We just saw him come around the front stretch and try to catch back up to the pack. He starts 25th. This is just his second NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, and he's doing it at Talladega Superspeedway. Hermie?
Well, I got goosebumps, and I'm not even in the race truck today. What an exciting day, a great day for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But monitoring these teams on pit road, you never heard so much talk about who wants to stay in the front, as you guys touched on, who's going to the back. It's about 50-50 here. It'd be interesting to see whose strategy pays off and who wins the inaugural race at Talladega. Rick?
Well, it is going to be interesting to see, and I know you may have goosebumps. I know all of us up here in the booth have got goosebumps. We watched practice on Thursday, and immediately there were 22 trucks running in a bunch, 3, 4, and 5 wide. Wayne Otten, the series director, jumped in and said, "Whoa, guys, this is our first race here, and it's not till Saturday."
I was in the NASCAR hauler talking to Wayne after that practice session. Kenny Schrader was also in there, and we were talking about that, and Kenny said, "Wait a minute, Wayne, you're the one that invited these guys to come here, so don't talk about them being 3, 4 wide. It's going to happen."
It's so funny to listen to these guys plan who's going to go to the front, who's going to go to the rear. And that's why sometimes, like at Daytona, we never saw the big one, because these guys decided to break the pack apart. Some of them went to the back, some of them went to the front. I know that green truck starting on the pole is planning on staying right there where he's at. But I just think that Talladega is too inviting. It's too easy to run wide open here. It's too easy to get 3 and 4 wide. I think these guys won't be able to resist the temptation.
I couldn't do it, Michael. I don't think I could drop to the back and ride around there, you know, hoping we don't get in the big one. I think I want to be up front racing for the lead if I can do it.
Does the smoothness of the track create a confidence for these drivers?
Yeah, and that's the worst thing they could have, because that means I think I can fit in there. The truck's handling good. I'm going for it. I'm squeezing in. I've never had any more fun guiding a car around a track as I had here at Talladega this weekend. I've been coming here for 20 years. It used to be rough as a cop. Now you just hold the steering wheel. It feels good. It feels fast. But this is going to be crazy what we're fixing to watch.
We are about to see the first ever start for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Talladega Superspeedway. The fans are on their feet. The green flag flies. We're underway.
It'll be interesting to see if these two in the front have a plan. Well, if they did, it just got changed.
There goes Bobby Hamilton to the inside Irwin.
And remember, now that's the truck that's going to make its way to the back of the field to start with.
But he's going to see if the front feels okay first before he goes back there. It could get real crowded trying to get to the backfield.
3 wide already. Lap number 1, turn 2, 3 wide.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the point.
The only way this won't be one of the greatest races we've ever seen is if right now, 4 wide on the first few laps, these guys get together and we take out half the field. That'll mess everything up. But if that doesn't happen, this is what you're going to see for 250 miles.
What a beautiful picture watching these trucks come through 3 and 4 and into the tribal. This is the hairy part of the track.
It is? It all looks hairy to me.
Mark Martin goes back to the lead, jumps by Bobby Jr. He's got a lot of help. Now David Reagan, the 50 truck, leads another group on the outside, hangs Bobby Hamilton right in the middle. Bobby Jr. may make his way to the back, not intending to here. He's caught in the middle.
And what you have to realize, Phil, none of this matters. Only thing that matters is the end. You would feel silly if you crashed your truck on the 2nd or 3rd lap, because it doesn't, there's no reward for it. So you've got to be smart. If you don't feel comfortable where you're at, you got to slide up high, let them go, and then regroup later.
That's Scott's Ford reclaiming the point. Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the start got out in front, but he didn't actually lead a lap. Mark Martin has led the only lap run here as we come back into the trial.
You know, so often we talk about at racetracks the bottom groove being the preferred line. Sometimes when we go to places, the top groove is the preferred line. There is no preferred line around this racetrack. Michael, the middle used to be taboo. Sometimes people now use the middle to make moves.
Oh, the middle's your friend. For some reason these days, the aerodynamics of these trucks and the cars alike, you go to the middle, you pick up 10, 15 mile an hour. It feels like you start passing people.
You mentioned aerodynamics. Some of the trucks out there, we know about a handful of them, don't have the Romeo windows on the back. They think that that's going to increase the speed a little bit. Will that also alter their aerodynamics on this track?
Well, the Romeo window is something that, as you turn sideways, helps hold the truck on the ground. It really doesn't do a whole lot. I think that whether you're with it or not doesn't really matter. These trucks are so glued to the road. NASCAR has them at a speed where they're comfortable. If they spin around, what will happen? I don't think that's a factor. I think all that matters is where you place your truck, Phil. How you're able to, those trucks don't know what kind of spoiler they got on the back when they're in a pack like this. The air's going over all that.
And 4 wide right there, Michael. These guys are negotiating this corner 4 wide.
As they are 4 wide, I'm guessing there's a lot of talk going on right now on the radio, isn't there, Ray?
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. And you know, the scanner is our best friend down here on trackside, because we get to hear what the drivers are talking about. Except for when you come to Talladega, because all we hear is the spotter going 3 wide, 4 wide, look outside, he's going inside. We never even hear what the drivers have to say, whether their trucks are handling good or bad. Right now, I don't think any of them could talk anyway. Krista?
Well, Ray, patience is a word we're going to hear a lot today. We've heard it all weekend, because anything can happen and it can change so much at this track. I mean, things are so hairy already, and we just started. Todd Bodine started 4th. He has dropped all the way back to 11th. His spotter is telling him, be patient. He was running on the outside line. They just told him the middle is open, and that is where he just stuck himself down on the inside, and he is now just starting to pass some trucks. Also, the number 13, Kerry Earnhardt, real quick, just learned his engine is not running. That's Kerry Earnhardt, the number 13.
Kerry Earnhardt just went across the start-finish line. We saw a big puff of smoke coming out, so obviously motor problems for that team.
Now these motors are churning up some RPM. I mean, they are really turning some RPM. It's hard on these engines, Bill.
Unlike the Nextel Cup cars that will only turn about 7,500 RPMs, these trucks will turn about 8,700, 8,800 RPMs in a good draft.
And one of the other things that could happen, Kerry Earnhardt, because of aerodynamics, is not going to make it all the way around without help on this racetrack. You may wonder, why are we showing Daytona from 2004 and Carl Edwards winning that race? Well, it's because Carl Edwards is going to join us for the broadcast a little bit here today. Carl, now you won there at Daytona back in 2004. Are you feeling like, hey, I wish I was in this inaugural race at Talladega?
Well, I think I'm a lot like Mike. I'm glad to be watching right now. I know it's hard to be facing this direction. I want to watch what's going on out there. It's very exciting.
Well, and we'll let you do that, actually.
Okay,
let's turn around so we can see what's happening on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's really cool to be here. I mean, this is unreal. I mean, you know, these guys are, like I said, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Mikey was saying, led it into turn one. Now he's running last. Mark Martin's falling back. Guys are trading spots back and forth. It's wild.
We're hearing a story out of the number 6 pit crew. What's going on down there, Ray?
Well, Mark Martin has something on the front of the grill, they believe, because the water temperature has gone crazy. You'd be okay at about 245. It went to 255, then 65, then 280, and now it's starting to drop back a little bit. But Mark went back in traffic to try to move in and out of a few trucks to see if he could get something to fall off of there. But he says right now it's not helping. So they're talking about pitting to come down to make sure they clean that grill off so he doesn't blow the thing up.
Man, that's tough for Mark. I know Roush engines, you know, those Roush H engines are they're great, and they obviously qualify well. It's tough to have to pull in for that. Might be a blessing, though, right?
Well, you never know. And Mark did have something low on his grill, which they'll clean it off here, and he'll get back into the action. The front pack is kind of strung out, Phil. But Ray, what's going to happen when he comes in?
Well, they're going to go to the front of the grill real quick, and they've got a brush ready. A couple of crew members, they're taking a look at it. It's a piece of tear off. Looks like it came off of a windshield, was on the lower section. Now, the top of the grill is completely closed off. That gives you good downforce. But on the bottom where they had an opening, it was a windshield tear off.
It's not a big problem for Mark Martin because he knows that, you know, most of these trucks aren't going to get lapped. I mean, it's going to be hard to get lapped. This is such a good, strong field that Mark is going to be in line. If he does get lapped, to get the lucky dog. And right now, he's about a third of a track ahead of these guys. So he's got a while before this pack will catch him. And catch him they will. They're going to be running so much faster in a draft than he can run by himself. If they run long enough before caution, they definitely will catch him.
They're liable to eat up 2 seconds a lap on him, Phil. It could be a matter of 5 laps, and they'll catch Mark Martin. He's a third of a track ahead, but man, things happen fast at Talladega when you get out of that draft. You lose a lot of ground.
Johnny Benson now leading the race. He led that last lap, meaning he got 5 bonus points, which Johnny's looking at the big picture. He is looking at a championship for the 2006 season.
Yeah, he's also looking at wanting to win this race, too, wanting to win this first race ever for the Truck Series at Talladega.
And he is so comfortable right now, Phil. He's got the lead. He doesn't have anybody challenging him. But you know what? Leading the race, even you're thinking, y'all stay back there. You can't. You keep worrying, even though you're leading.
Carl, tell us how much that Johnny's looking out the mirror right now. He's got Jack Sprague, the 60 truck, behind him. He's looking out the mirror as much as he is out the windshield.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the mirrors are so important here. And I know, you know, just from my experience leading in the trucks at Daytona, it's like, those guys behind him are doing a favor. They could pull out at any time and line up and go by him. It's just right now everybody's working together saying, all right, we'll stay in a line. We'll see if we can stay in front of this, you know, massive swarm of trucks. And as long as they do that, Johnny's going to be a happy guy.
That's why I say Johnny knows that. Johnny knows they could all drive around him. He's just saying, please don't. Let's keep this order for now. I like it.
And they will. Someone's going to pull out. It's going to be Jack Sprague or somebody behind Jack Sprague. It's inevitable that someone's going to pull out to try to take this lead over.
And Carl, what will happen a lot of times if the trucks behind Jack Sprague get a run and push him and he doesn't go out there to take the lead, the guys will go out there and leave him behind the leader and then pass them all. So sometimes you don't want to go outside and take the lead, but everybody's coming so fast, you know, if you don't get in that line, it's going to be too wide anyway.
Moving on the second line, we saw the 15 of Mike Wallace trying to bring the second line along as they are running about a half a lane up.
And they're black flagging the number 5 for no right side window. They've been looking for a while trying to figure out who didn't have their windshield or their right side window.
Yeah, NASCAR has required these trucks to run a right side window for aerodynamic purposes. That's Jeff Hensley right there. He's crew chief for Mike Skinner. You can see how upset he is, but NASCAR is going to black flag.
We got to wait till the next lap. He got on the inside.
Mike's saying, I swear it's there. It's clear. It's real clean. It's there.
But we can tell on this angle whether it's in there or not. And Phil, it's gone.
It is gone. Absolutely gone right there.
Oh, man. That's too bad. That's tough luck.
And you know what? It'll be interesting to see how prepared that team is. Is there a spare one in the pit, or are they scurrying right now back to the trucks to try to find one?
That's a great question.
Ray Dunlap.
I've got the answer for you, Mikey. They do have one, but it's not right here in the pits. So they ran to the truck, and the officials are here saying you must pit next time. Now, they just threw one over from the garage area, and they're about to unwrap it here and get it ready. So by the time Skinner gets here, they will be ready. Good hustle by the crew to get ready to fix that.
Now, that's a battle, isn't it, Mikey? As a team, you got to decide what parts you're going to bring out there. And it's like, you want to bring everything, but then the guys get tired of tearing down and carrying all that stuff week in and week out, because you never know when you need that one part.
And then Skinner's saying right now, I would come in, but I can't get over. And I don't want to cause a problem. So he's asking NASCAR to work with him, let him get into position to safely come to pit road.
Yep, he just got onto the inside line. Now, explain the importance of the right side window. Didn't they put this in after we saw so many trucks getting upside down at Daytona?
A couple years ago, we saw a couple trucks get upside down. Rick Crawford was one. Chad Chapman was another one. So NASCAR, just like the next up Cup cars and the Busch cars, put a right side window in that will try to help these trucks stay on the ground. It kills a little bit of the lift of these trucks when they get sideways.
Right, Mikey's pointing at the screen there. What do you got? Mark Martin's a second slower.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds a lap slower.
You were correct on that.
They're going to eat him up in a hurry.
But he will be, he'll be the first guy lap down for a long time. If there's a caution, he'll be right back there. I don't think it'll.
Mark Martin just making his way through the tri-oval. The pack just coming up past the pit road entrance and now in the tri-oval. So as you mentioned, 2 seconds the difference. They're going to catch him in about probably 3 or 4 laps.
It just happens so fast. It's amazing, especially with these big old boxy trucks. It's amazing how fast they go when you put 2 of them together.
There you see Mike Skinner right there on your left. He's going to make his pit stop to put his side window in. And Carl tells us if you're running 185 miles an hour in the middle of 3 and 4, and you got to turn left and get down to 55 miles an hour on pit road. How difficult is that?
Yeah, that's tough. It's especially when you know that whole pack is out there running around 190 miles an hour or whatever. I mean, Mike, you know how it is. Mark Martin's in the boat right now where he might be going 185 miles an hour, but it feels like 35. He knows that pack's closing in on him.
I believe I might have put some duct tape on that window, Phil, when I put it in. It probably wasn't made specifically for that truck. Yeah. Thing might blow out again, then they'll be out of windows. Maybe took a little extra time, taped it up, and got in that battle with Mark Martin for that free pass that he's going to get.
Patience has worked out for Johnny Benson and Jack Sprague. They are still leading this field around Talladega Superspeedway. Thursday on Speed, the chase is on when NASCAR returns to Charlotte. Steve Burns and Carl Edwards keep you up to speed as the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship race is on. The chase is on Thursday night at a special time, 9 Eastern, 10 Pacific, only on Speed. Carl,
and
the chase is on, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can't be in the chase, being on the chase is on is the next best thing, that's for sure. It's a fun show.
Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, I'm down in Skinner's pit right here, and I just wanted to show you. Here's an extra side window that they've got ready to go in the truck if they needed to. Now, what they have is there's a little latch on the inside of here that snaps in so that there's a cord that the driver could pull to throw this thing loose and get it out of the truck if they ever were in an emergency and needed to go out the right side. Now, this one doesn't have the latch in, but in some of these things, if that latch is just a little bit loose and the truck's vibrating, and that comes loose and this is vibrating, away goes the window, and that's what they think happened to Mike Skinner. Hermie?
As Bobby Hamilton Jr., as we saw, led into turn 1. Now he's at the back of the pack, but not totally by strategy. Bobby's truck is very, very loose. He fell to the back to keep from wrecking the truck. Good thing he has teammates. They have asked the 04 and the 4 of his teammates to drop to the back of the pack to help him try to catch up. So far, they're not having much success. As far as Jack Sprague is concerned, no news is good news. He's not opened his mouth since the drop of the green flag, which normally means the driver's happy. Krista?
Well, somebody who is opening their mouth, the spotters, they are working overtime already. You know, this is like watching a ping pong game on Red Bull. It's so hard to keep up with where everyone is. They're bouncing back and forth. Todd Bodine was running 4th. He had dropped back to 5th. His spotter said, help is coming. Help in the form of Ron Hornaday. Ron Hornaday came up, gave him a little push. Todd Bodine back up to 4th. The only problem they're having right now, our points leader, is their truck is running just a little bit hot. They'll try to cool it off when they come in. Right now, Todd Bodine currently running 4th.
As we watch Johnny Benson, the 23 leading, Mark Martin is now 1 lap down. You see him third in line. That's a 6 truck. He came out of the pits, and when the pack caught him, he jumped up beside of Mike Skinner, got in front of Johnny Benson. Johnny followed him for a number of laps. Now he has gotten by him, but Mark's still in great position right now to be the first car 1 lap down, but we're going to have a caution flag to get the lucky dog.
And I think that's inevitable. That's going to happen. You know what? We're going to see a trend, Rick. Every week, Johnny Benson has Todd Bodine behind him, and that's the case right now. And that's why he's been able to eat into that point lead, and that's why this championship battle is far from over.
One of the things I think we've really got to look at right now, and we may have a caution coming out here. I was just going to mention, we are more than halfway through a fuel run. The possibility exists we could go for green flag pit stops here at Talladega in the first ever race. We look back at the 40.
We've seen a couple of
left rear out, I think.
Yeah, see there, and there's debris everywhere. I'd say that'll bring out that caution flag, Rick. Maybe those banks are so steep, though. Maybe it will get it all off the bank, but I don't know.
Caution just came out here at Talladega, the first one. It happens at lap 23.
He did a good job of saving that, huh?
He really
Tires
did.
coming apart.
That thing
sideways.
blew the whole fender off. You know how violent that is.
That should give Mark Martin the lucky dog. Will put him right back in the hunt.
That worked out for that Scott's Ford there.
Yeah, and you know what? I said last race that Mark Martin didn't even know what a lucky dog was, and now he's got his second one. And so I guarantee he understands what an Aaron's lucky dog is now.
And he likes the lucky dog thing now.
He does. He's okay with it. Look.
Now, Derek, it's official. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to Mark Martin in the number 6. He will get his lap back and be on the lead lap.
And that'll put Skinner in line for the next Aaron's lucky dog.
Will Derek Cope be leading the race after this pit stop?
No, because they'll have to be pitted too early.
No.
Again, Mark Martin was a lap down. He had problems earlier. They were worried about the truck overheating. They came in. It was actually a tear off that was on the front of the grill.
And I heard him talking back and forth with the team there about water pressure. Maybe he feels like he lost enough water.
Right, yeah, with the way our route systems work, that's the first thing they ask you anytime you blow out water, and watch that water pressure to indicate how much water's in it.
Come back and we'll put water in it, okay?
Yeah, that's Mike Beam right there. And there's really nothing to lose.
Got to get fuel the first time. We got to get tires to fuel the first time, then come back and let's put some water in it.
The fact that they got the lucky dog, they will have to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line, so he has absolutely nothing to lose to come in, take a little extra time, make sure that thing's full of water, and he should be good to go.
And that's cool. It worked out well for Mark and the Scott's team, Mike Beam. I talked to Mark a little bit about this deal this week, and he loves racing with Mike Beam. He loves doing it with that team. They do a great job. Keeping them calm, that's cool.
And one of the good things for Mark Martin is we've seen it happen before where you can start or you can restart in the back of this field and make it all the way up to the front, because a guy like Brendan Gaughan started in 34th. He made it all the way up into the top 10. Now he's dropped back just a bit, but that's one of those drivers, you can do it at a super speedway.
Rick, you see that number 16 truck on the right hand of your screen? That's Mike Bliss. He elected to make some changes after qualifying, had to go to the tail end of the field. He's running 4th. He started almost last.
Well, it's like Mikey said, you can drive anywhere on the racetrack. You can put the car anywhere you want. That's pretty amazing.
You just want to try to figure out when you want to do it. Do you fight to stay right at the front? Because we've seen Mark Martin, fastest truck here, he couldn't stay in the front.
Well, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. started the race and tried to get out in front, was out in front for about, maybe 2 miles, but then dropped back and now has dropped all the way to the back. Let's go down pit road and Chris DeVoto.
Todd Bodine is in. They are making a 4-tire stop and putting a full load of fuel in. This is very big pit strategy because they know they're going to drop back. A lot of teams are just taking 2. They are taking 4 because Todd has felt a vibration for the last 15 laps. He said, boys, I'm not going to worry. I've got the best pit crew on pit road. I'm taking 4 and we're going to get back up. Hermie.
Jack Sprague is in for 4 tires and fuel. He likes the way the truck driving, a little bit tight from the center off. So an air pressure adjustment only for Jack Sprague. He loves his truck. Ray?
How about the 23 of Johnny Benson? They had made the decision right sides only, so they only took 2 tires, got plenty of fuel in it, and JB back to the racetrack. So differing strategies down here on pit road.
Pit strategy playing into who comes out in front of the field. Johnny Benson, only right side tires. Derek Cope causing our first caution of the day. The right rear tire blows. Wednesday night, Pipe Passion and titles go on the line in a best of 3 out of 5 showdown settled on the quarter mile. It's a duel between heart and horsepower. Lose the race, lose your ride. Don't miss Pinks beginning Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on Speed. You guys are welcome to laugh.
There's pie involved?
It's pride, all right? It's pride. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in.
And you can see, Phil, there's his Romeo window. That's where that's located, right there on that right rear roll bar. And what that does is stabilizes the truck in traffic somewhat. He said he was loose, and so they worked on it.
They started without that window. He's one of the 5 trucks that started without that window. They put it in. His truck should be better now. Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, the 18 truck came back in for a second pit stop. The first stop, they got 4 tires and fuel. Had to come back in, do some work to the nose. They got some debris through the front end of the truck from that tire that blew up on the racetrack. So they're already in the back of the pack anyway, trying to make these repairs to try to get the 18 truck back to the front of the pack, guys.
And you notice he stayed on the inside of that yellow line. It was the Wayne Aughton let them know that they were not to come out until turn 2. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, most of the guys down on my end really didn't make any chassis adjustments, just put 4 tires on it and fuel. But there are a couple of trucks down here that decided to pull a little tape off of the front, and a few of them were running hot. And I think a lot of them found that there were little bits and pieces of tear off out there on the racetrack. But a couple of trucks pulling tape off, so that'll change a little bit about the way these trucks handle.
Inevitably, you have heating problems at a restrictor plate race or at a Talladega Daytona race because you run so close together, Phil.
Exactly right. These trucks do not run a restrictor plate, but they do run a tapered spacer, which knocks about 100 horsepower out of these engines.
Green flag flies. We're back to racing at Talladega. Johnny Benson out in front of Jack Sprague, Mike Bliss, Todd Bodine, and David Rudeman, your top 5.
Let's see how long they can stay in the line. What do y'all think? To turn 3 before it all gets jumbled up? Or?
Middle of the back straight, I'm saying.
Okay,
there's no
see.
way.
And Carl, you made the comment after that caution. Maybe they're sitting there in the trucks going, well, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that was great. Now we can go hard. There shouldn't be any problems. It was easy. And here you know, there you go, middle of back straight.
Middle of back stretch. Mike Skinner.
Imagine that, Skinner.
Remember now,
he's a lap down.
He's a lap down, so he would love to get up front here and earn his way back to the down, but he still needs to stay in front of anyone else that's a lap down. And actually, he's the only truck on the racetrack 1 lap down, so all he has to do is hope for a caution flag.
And you saw it, and some guys thought, maybe we'll go in there. Nope, we'll stay in line and see if we can get away from this pack.
He got hung out, and so Mike Skinner begins to drop back while the rest of the field continues to move forward on the inside of the racetrack.
That's when you feel so good. You say, come on, guys, we're going to go get them. And you get out there, and there's no guys. It's just you, and you're losing ground left and right.
But we were such good friends.
Yeah. And usually, even though everyone knows that Mike Skinner is fast, everyone knows he's a lap down, so it's like persona non grata. Nobody likes Mike Skinner right now. They don't want to be anywhere near him because they know he's a lap down.
Persona non grata. Yeah, I've had that feeling.
You can see in the top 5, our top 3 in points are racing along there. Benson, Rudeman, and Bodine. And David Rudeman's got a different look to his truck this weekend. You're used to seeing him in those Tundra colors. He's got Napa Auto Parts on the side of that truck.
Good looking truck, too.
Oh, it's beautiful. And plus, he's in the top 5. That even makes it prettier.
That's a good thing.
And following him a couple trucks back, the new Northern Tool and Equipment sponsored truck, the 99, man. That's a big deal. We were talking about 5-year deal in the Truck Series. Pretty excited about that at Roush Racing.
Great news for Eric Darnell and Jack Roush. You know, he ran that truck this year, had a little bit of sponsorship from Woolrich, but some of the races, that truck had nothing on the sides, but it's great to see that sponsor come on board.
Yeah, and it's good news for the guys. There's guys out there who don't even know it's good news for them. There's some development driver that's going to have Northern Tool the next couple years, and we don't even know who he is yet.
Now, Carl, are you surprised that we're in the 20th race of the season and a rookie has not won this year?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But I mean, when you realize that the series is getting tougher and tougher. I mean, when I raced in it, the spread from first to 20th or 30th was big, and now it's getting smaller and smaller. And the experience that's coming in is tougher and tougher. And I think it gives the young guys, the rookies, a better learning experience, even if they don't win as much.
They see these first 5 or 6 guys are very happy with what they got going on right now. But there's guys about 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're not so happy. They're thinking, well, I want to go up there. Let's go. Let's go. Persona non grata, whatever you said.
And I think I can do it. I think I can pull out and move my way up there. All I need is just a little bit of help.
And there's beginning to be a little bit of a storm cell brewing back there. You can see them. They're starting to get 2 wide, about 8th, 9th position, trying to figure out, and 3 wide. There's Mark Martin trying to make his way back up to the front after receiving that free pass from Aarons.
Remember, Mark had to restart this race at the tail end of the longest line. Right now he ducks in behind the 20 truck of Marcus Ambrose. Now he's in the middle.
Now he unducks.
Yeah, Mark is That's cool. You're seeing Mark get out there. You don't see Mark go 3 wide, you know, running around the top, trying to make up ground. He's excited.
Mark Martin restarted 32nd, trying to move towards the front. Krista, what's going on with Terry Cook?
Terry Cook having a very strong run, and that team is sticking to their plan. Crew Chief Dennis Conner said all along on that first stop they were planning on taking 2 tires. That is exactly what they did. Lefts only. They're going to survey what they have and then go from there. Terry Cook looking for a win. Remember, he's already won once this year. He has 7 Daytona starts, 2 top 5s there, looking to be the first winner at Talladega. And the spotter just said, stick right on the bottom. You're doing exactly what you need to do. Hermie?
As we mentioned earlier, Michael Walters probably smiling. The Napa Toyota in the top 5. David Rudiman came in on his last pit stop. He was a little bit loose in the draft, so they took 4 tires and a little bit of wedge. He's now happy with his truck. Rick?
Well, thanks, Hermie. And it's built into 3 wide again as they're working their way around this super speedway.
There goes Joe Nemechek and Mark Martin teaming up on the high side.
Yeah, and that's David Reagan, our outside post hitter there, Phil. He's leading that outside group up toward the front, and behind him, a guy that we think will be a factor in this race before it's over, Mike Wallace. He has Geico sponsorship on that truck. It looks really good, too. Did you see that thing on the hood?
That gecko there? Is that what that is? The gecko, right?
The gecko.
Don't delve into my personal life, mate.
Richie Waters, Billy Ballou's team there, always run well. And he's got a great restrictor plate driver in Mike Wallace right here.
Aaron Crocker's all up in the middle of it, too. She's right in there on the back of that Geico truck.
We've talked about a bunch of the sponsorships on the different trucks. One that doesn't have a sponsorship, that's 16 of Mike Bliss. Ray, what's going on?
Well, Rick, those guys are going week to week, as everybody knows, just trying to make it from one race to the next. But Bliss is very happy with the truck he's got right now. Now, his spotter is the team owner, Dave Fugin. He told him, keep an eye on that high side. We see the 50 truck and a couple others are on that outside line, and they're coming up on you here in a little bit. So if they get close to you, I'll let you know, and let's try to go up there and work the high side. Fuge says he believes that the last lap pass at the end of this race is going to be done on the high side, not the low side, so they want to try it out early.
Johnny Benson continuing to lead the Talladega 250, and now Mike Bliss and Todd Bodine have decided to go on the high side. We'll see if they can get by right after these messages. Welcome back to the Talladega 250. We're under our second caution as Scott Lagasse Jr. has lost the engine. Take a look back at coming through the tri-oval. That's the 04 right there, throwing the smoke screen out.
Wow. The 04 Mopar Dodge, the Hemi Dodger, blew up just as he entered the tri-oval. Fortunately, nobody got into the oil. He was towards the back of the pack. Everyone did a great job.
Watch what happens, Phil. Fire.
There he is right there, right, almost right at the center of the tri-oval there. Trucks on the inside, trucks on the outside making their way by. That's Boston Reed on the 25 truck on the inside.
Yeah, here's what Bobby Hamilton Jr. saw here.
He's not going to like it. That's his teammate.
He's going, do I have one of those engines?
Take a left, Bobby. Take a left.
Oh, boy.
Go low against the yellow line there.
The worst thing in a race vehicle is fire. And watch what happens right here at the end, Phil. That thing, he did a great job sliding down on the grass. That grass and dirt puts that fire out.
Completely put it out. Absolutely. Good heads up move by Scott Lagasse.
Hermie.
Just like it looks like on TV, the 04 truck did lose an engine early in the race. It got some piece of a tear off on the grill. The oil temperature went up near 300 degrees. They came in and cleaned the tear off the grill of the race truck. The temperature came down, but apparently the damage is already done. The 04 is done for the day.
So again, we're under our second caution of the day. This one came out at lap 33. We're expecting some of the trucks to come down for fuel. And as they're doing that to take a pit stop, we will say thank you to Carl Edwards for joining us up here. I know you've got a focus for Sunday's race.
Support. Thank you guys for having me. I hope you guys have a good time. This is cool. Inaugural Talladega race. You're going to see some excitement. See who wins this thing.
Well, go get back in your motor home and watch the end of this one.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Today's FASTENAL flashback takes us back to 1988. Driving the number 55 car and crossing the finish line first. Yes, our very own Phil Parsons. Today's FASTENAL flashback. Phil Parsons, first Cup win right here at Talladega Superspeedway. And look at how young your daughter is there, Phil.
And she is now a freshman in college. Thank you very much.
We didn't want to date you or anything, but
thank you a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Big win here at Talladega.
It was, and my only one, so it was definitely big for me.
That's about as big as they get.
Look at the crowd. That's the backstretch, Phil.
That's a bigger crowd than we've had for a lot of races over the years. What a terrific turnout.
It's just a testament for what these Craftsman trucks bring to NASCAR. It's so fun to watch them race, no matter where they're at.
Ray Dunlap, the 5 got a lap back. What are they talking about in the pits?
Well, he just came down and put 4 tires on it. I ran up to Jeff Hensley, his crew chief, and I said, "What are you doing? Why pit now?" He said, "Well, we got to try something. We got to see what we can do here." Put tires on it, filled it up with gas. Now, I don't believe they're good enough to go. They'll have one more pit left to do, but Jeff Hensley says, let's try something different.
The 33 truck came in on this last round of pit stops, fighting a vibration. They've had a vibration in the front of the truck. Since the green flag dropped, they came in, took 4 tires, filled up with gas, but a vibration is really bothering Ron Hornaday. Krista?
Yeah, guys, 2 front runners having tear-off issues of all things. Terry Cook and Rick Crawford. Terry Cook's problem is glare. He said when the truck comes back in, they're going to need to get rid of that tear-off to really get the windshield clean. Rick Crawford's problem, it's flapping on the right side.
What is?
He's flapping on the right side, trying to keep the truck on the racetrack.
Well, that's how drivers explain their cars sometimes, or their cars or trucks sometimes. Flapping out here. And the crew looks at each other like, what's he talking about?
The green flag flies once again at Talladega. And they line up right behind Johnny Benson. Jack Sprague has been patient. All he sees is the back of the Exide Toyota, number 23 of Johnny Benson, and he is staying in line, as is Mike Bliss. And we saw some trucks jump out of line there toward the end of that last run before the caution came out.
It takes a little while for the guys in the back to work their way on that outside to the front, but they can eventually get there, Phil. They proved that last run, so we'll see how that materializes. We already see one truck, that Mike Wall is up on the high side looking for some help. He's getting it right now. Setzer pulls in behind him, and they're going to try to form them a line and go to the front.
You know, Michael, it's probably smart to stay on the inside and stay in line, but you also want to see what you can do. If you're going to try to make a pass towards the end of this race, as you see David Reagan.
We've got a blown motor.
Jack Sprague.
Jack Sprague on the inside of the racetrack. Smoke coming out of the back of the Conway Freight Toyota.
All right, guys, we blew up.
Oh, man, bad news for Jack Sprague and that team.
Look at the new leader.
Out front, here comes Todd Bodine leading the line on the outside. Right behind him, the 50 of David Reagan and Eric Darnell, the 99, and they will take over the top spot.
Did you see what they did? As soon as they had everybody cleared, they're thinking, those guys on the bottom look pretty good. I believe I'll get down there.
3 trucks working together. Todd Bodine, David Reagan, and Eric Darnell were able to work on the high side of the racetrack and get in front of Johnny Benson.
Todd would like to make this lead stick. Watch Todd right here. Watch him when the 60 truck blows up here. Everybody goes to the high side. Todd goes all the way up right in front of the 50 truck of David Reagan and makes his way around the 16 of Mike Bliss, and then down the backstretch takes the lead.
Almost was forced out there. Hermie, what's going on with Jack?
Well, they're not really sure. Jack fell off the pace. His first words on the radio were, "We blew up." Now he says the truck is still running, but not under power to the drivetrain. They're going to pull on pit road and see if they can diagnose it and get back in the race. But a very disappointed group in the 60 pit. Back to the booth.
Those Toyota motors historically don't break, so they've decided now that maybe it isn't the motor, Phil. Maybe it's something in the driveline.
It could be a transmission. He is going to take the truck behind the wall, the Conway Toyota, but it could be a drive shaft transmission, something like that, rear end possibly, but tough break for Jack Sprague. Had such a great truck, running around here in the 2nd spot.
Johnny Benson had led laps here at Talladega, and now our points leader, Todd Bodine, also is going to lead laps and get the 5 bonus points for leading a lap.
So far a push for those 2 guys.
Exactly. We'll keep track of the number of laps led by each driver. Johnny Benson led 32 laps. Mark Martins led 5. Todd has led 2. And the 07 actually led a lap, and Sean Murphy.
Wow.
The Lumber Liquidators is hauling the lumber in front of the field at Talladega. David Reagan and Eric Darnell, 2 young guys looking to make a name for themselves in the Truck Series. And what a name it would be if they can say they won the first truck race at Talladega.
Saturday, October 21st, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series returns to the paperclip for the 2nd time this season. the final short track race of 2006, just as the points race heats up. Can David Starr defend his title and take his second Martinsville Trophy in a row? Tune in live on the pre-race show starting at 12:30, only on Speed.
Opposite ends of the spectrum from Talladega to the short track of Martinsville. We are under our third caution of the day as Robert Richardson spun coming off of turn number 4. We'll take a look at that as he has service done to his truck.
Robert was running by himself. He lost control coming off turn number 4. He does a great job staying out of the inside while you see this left rear tire is down. That's probably what caused him to spin out.
We saw how close Derek Cope come to spinning when he blew out his left rear. Robert was a little bit deeper down in the corner and the tire blew out and around he went.
We're expecting the leaders to come down pit road. They're going to want to fuel up here. Are they going to want to change tires at this point in time?
Their strategy will be all across the board here. Some will get 2. I bet you some people just get gas, others will get 4.
But I think you're going to see everybody come down pit road at least to get fuel because we're over halfway to a fuel run.
Again, this one's 94 laps. We've completed 43. Krista.
Guys, Todd Bodine's crew waiting for him to come back in to make a stop. They were worried that Robert Richardson wouldn't be out. Robert Richardson pits right behind Todd Bodine. Robert Richardson did get down and away, so no problem for Todd Bodine. He is all clear. As he brings the Lumber Liquidators Toyota into his pit stall, they bring the right side tires around, putting a full load of fuel in. Remember, Todd Bodine came in back on lap 23 to make that 4-tire stop. Just a 2-tire stop for Todd Bodine. Hermie.
David Rudiman is in the Napa Toyota. Loves the way his truck's driving. Gas only for the 17. Track position very important here at Talladega, Ray.
Gas only for the Exide Batteries Toyota of Johnny Benson, and he almost got into a collision leaving his pits here. It was very, very close as he rolled out of here, but they put fuel only. They know they're not in the window to make it the distance, so they're saving tires for the end of the race.
I'm telling you, we had 3 trucks stay on the racetrack. Eric Darnell takes over the lead. A.J. Allmendinger will be second and Sean Murphy third. 3 trucks stayed on the racetrack. I'm not sure I agree with that strategy.
David Reagan, his teammate, came down pit road and came off first.
You know, when I concentrate really well like this, I can usually do a good job of chiseling. But if I try to work and then talk to you, I'm going to smack my hand. I do this in my shop all the time. I hate using a chisel with my hand. But Craftsman has a solution. It's actually called a chisel holder. I know it sounds like a simple process, but look at this. You put your chisel in, you tighten up the handle, and now the chisel is 3.5 inches away from your hand. So when you go back to work, even if you're a klutz like me, you're not going to smack yourself. Now this little tool's about $10 at your local Sears store, but if you buy one, your hand will forever thank you.
Well, you can check out this Craftsman tool of the trade and other great programming on Speed on Demand. Lights are out on the pace truck, meaning this time by we will get the green flag. Randy Kaiser piloting this pace truck around the 2.66 mile super speedway.
A little bit ago, Phil, we saw some guys elect not to make pit stops, became a non-factor. The caution flag fell in time for them to pit with everybody else. These cats here, the 99 truck and the 24 of A.J. Allmendinger, they're taking a chance right now. They're staying out. They have less gas than everyone for that all-important track position. But will everybody else line up behind them like we've seen them do with Todd Bodine and Johnny Benson, or will they try to get around them because they're not used to seeing them up front?
And Michael, they've only got about 15 laps of fuel left. They all pitted back on lap number 24. They can only go about 36, maybe 38 laps with the caution laps we've had.
Now, I'm not sure if you were paying attention there, but did you see what Terry Cook just did there?
I don't know if he's going to get by with that or not.
Terry Cook, being a lap down, was on the inside. He got up to speed quicker than Eric Darnell did and jumped right out in front of him as they were going across the start-finish line. Krista.
Yeah, guys, Terry Cook using a little pit strategy. On that last round of pit stops, some trouble for the team. They overshot the pit box, a little miscommunication between the guys in the front and the back on that change. So they changed rights. They had to come back in to change lefts. They thought if they're a lap down, they might as well come back in and fill it to the brim with fuel. So a little bit of pit strategy for Terry Cook. They said, don't worry about it. Don't try to win this race in just one lap. Ray?
Hey, Krista, when we look up at the front of the field, we see a couple of Roush trucks up there, but very differing strategies for these guys. Eric Darnell did not pit his Northern Tool and Equipment number 99 on that last time. They're going to try to go those extra laps that Phil was talking about. But believe it or not, the number 50 of David Reagan did come down pit road and put fuel only in his truck, and he still got out ahead of Todd Bodine. So the 50 truck has a lot of fuel in there. The 99, they're on pins and needles.
Wow, those 3 Roush trucks were lined up, and Mark decided he'd shoot to the outside.
Let's look again at that restart, and we talked about Terry Cook. NASCAR's actually taking a look at this.
Well, this is all fine. He's going up because he's the first truck a lap down. Now, what he can't do or shouldn't do is pass him before the start-finish line.
I think he's okay.
Looks like he's all right.
He was dead side by side with our leader, Eric Darnell, when they got to the start-finish line. Good move by Terry Cook.
And Terry Cook actually gave back the position. He was going quicker when they went across the start-finish line, was out in front of him, but gave the position back. And so he was warned by NASCAR, but everything, no foul, no harm.
I like that call. I like when it's that close, man. That's just momentum. You know, it looked like maybe he was a tick ahead, but it's too hard to tell.
Give the benefit of the doubt to the competitor.
Please do, and I think that's what just happened. You know, we saw this whole bunch. They were all side by side for the lead a second ago, and now those first 4 or 5 on the bottom have broken away.
Michael, look who's leading this race. A.J. Allmendinger, only his second stock car race in his life. 5-time winner this year in the Champ Car circuit. His first ever oval track race in a stock car, stock truck, was at Loudon a few weeks ago, and here he is leading the race at Talladega.
His crew said, stay out, and A.J. said, what? Do y'all realize what that's going to put me in the middle of?
I'm going to be in front of the field at Talladega. 3 wide as they work their way through 1 and 2.
Man, this is just intense action. I told you not to channel surf. This is where you need to be. These guys are crazy.
Terry Cook's done a great job of keeping his Power Stroke diesel Ford up front. Right now, he's actually on the tail end of the lead lap. He got that penalty we talked about. There's a 0-7 of Sean Murphy. He's slowing down. We're getting a report that he has a flat tire.
Led the race earlier under caution, Phil, and that's some bad luck for Murphy right there.
Yeah, he was on the lead lap. Tough break for Sean Murphy. One of his infrequent starts.
07.
It lost it getting off into 1.
He said it went blah, is what he said. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
That was a
that's what he
foreign
said.
language that Sean was using there, but he was just making his way into 3 and 4. The pack now going through turns 1 and 2.
You know, there's so many of these trucks that have had a good run that we haven't had a chance to talk about. You see Ron Hornaday, the 33 truck, leading that group on the outside. Bobby East is running right now in the top 10. He has a great run going. He's on the inside in that 21 truck. But look at another 3 wide.
Here comes Mike Wallace.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
The Geico truck making its way to the outside. Mike Wallace knows how to win on super speedways.
But here's what I love, Phil. You got Bobby East, you got Mike Wallace, you got A.J. Allmendinger. These cats are from all over like I said, they're from all walks of life, and all of them are proven right now that they know how to drive to the front.
Good shot of Dennis Setzer, Shell Rotella T Chevrolet right there. That's Brendan Gaughan, the South Coast.
South Point,
just changed the name. Don's right behind him. He's going to pull up behind him. There's Eric Almirola on the inside in the Spears 75 truck. There's Joe Nemechek, the 46 truck. He's on the outside right now.
Got a battle for the lead. Here comes Todd Bodine to the outside.
Todd Bodine trying to get back in front. Here comes Mike Wallace, and look who goes with him. Mark Martin makes his way on the outside. Eric Darnell, David Reagan, all jumping to the outside. Todd Bodine getting hung up in the inside, and it's going to be Mike Wallace out in front of the field.
Now let's see if Mike Wallace, when he clears Terry Cook, if he jumps down to the inside like we've seen it happen so many times. He does jump to the inside, but Mark Martin has room to get right behind him.
But it isn't over yet, Phil. These cats are going to argue about this space for a few laps.
Todd Bodine, it still doesn't look like he has any friends out there. He's running pretty much on his own. Now Mike Skinner jumps in behind him to give him a shove.
Great 3-wide racing here at Talladega. We've had it from the drop of the green flag. We haven't knocked, I'm not going to say it. I started saying from the start of the green flag, we have had no drop. I'm not going to say it.
Chris Devoda, what's going on with Rick?
Yeah, trouble for Rick Crawford, a right rear flat. He had to come in, and now trouble, stalls the truck. Finally gets off pit road, but hey, Michael, that tear-off is no longer flapping.
Oh, good, and I hope his truck isn't either. That's like Kerry Gantt. He used to say his car was swarping, and nobody could understand what that meant.
And dipping and pooing. he had a lot of adjectives that people didn't understand.
But he was all right, always okay with dipping and pooing, but he didn't like it when it swarped.
What's it like to win at Talladega? Both of you guys have won at this racetrack.
It's for me, it's like winning at Bristol. You know, this is a macho racetrack. You win at Talladega, doesn't get much better than that. Bristol, same way.
You know, you want to run fast your whole life, and this was the fastest of the fast, and to be able to get in the victory lane here, we're pretty fortunate. You have to have good equipment to do it, but you have to be able to work the draft and do some things, so very fortunate weekend for us.
You know, it's like Ricky Bobby, Mama, I'm going fast. And when you get to Talladega, you're going fast, and that's what a race car driver wants to feel.
Talladega Nights. Hermie.
Yeah, quick update on the roller coaster ride for Bobby Hamilton racing today. Bobby Hamilton Jr., I've heard of a lot of things, but the battery box off the 40 truck went through the front grille of the 18 truck. They've been repairing that all day. On the 4 truck, they came in, got 4 tires, and waiting in the back, kind of hanging around with Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the back of the pack, waiting for a last few laps charge up to the front. But those 2 trucks in pretty good shape for right now, Rick.
Thank you, Hermie. Mike Wallace continuing to lead. Mark Martin has made his way back up toward the front. He runs second. Teammate Eric Darnell runs third. A.J. Allmendinger and David Rudiman are top 5 at Talladega. You see Bobby East's truck on pit road with damage to the right side. Our 4th caution has come out. He had a tire go down and got into the wall. Let's take a look.
There they are negotiating right between turn 3 and 4. You see him, the 21, right in the middle of your screen. His truck just takes off. Fortunately, Michael, he was on the outside. If he was on the inside, his truck's going to take off anyway, and he's going to take somebody with him. But a single truck accident.
Because of positioning, Phil. Just think if he's down there where Rudiman is. He takes out 2 or 3 trucks on his way up to the wall.
Good job by Bobby to keep that 21 truck up against the wall. There's another view right there coming right at us.
What a strong run for Bobby today. He's been in the top 5, running up front all day long.
Krista.
Guys, that caution, great news for our champ car driver turned truck driver, A.J. Allmendinger. He brings his truck around. They were getting close to their fuel window the last time they came in back on lap 35. So they're going to put the 4 tires on, get it full of fuel. They're in their fuel window now. Let's go, Hermie.
The 33 truck of Ron Hornaday has made his way to the 3rd. Contact on pit road with Aaron Crocker leaving his pits. They came in for gas only. He had a vibration early on in the race. They found that was a loose lug nut, but the 33 running well there towards the front, Ray.
The number 6 of Mark Martin, Mike Beam wanted to put tires on it. Mark said absolutely not. We cannot take the time and give up the lead. So they put fuel only in that Scott's Ford. And guess what? He was first off pit road.
Most people on pit road did just put in gas, and that's why you have instances like we see with Aaron Crocker. Watch, Hornaday just got some gas, he's gone. Here comes Aaron into her pit. She did nothing wrong. She just was going to her pit. You got to have some help from your sponsor.
And just barely missed the 17 Napa Toyota of David Rudiman.
Spotter.
Why didn't she back up and just do the service right there and then get off of pit road?
She could have, but she's going to be last either way, so it doesn't make any difference. Might as well just get it right. No help from the sponsor needed in that situation. Spotter. Spotter's got to tell Ron Hornaday that this 98 truck is coming. He's got to give her some room.
Absolutely.
Aaron's lucky dog goes to number 10 of Terry Cook, so he's back on the lead lap at Talladega. Tomorrow on Speed, the chase for the Nextel Cup continues right here at Talladega Superspeedway. And no one prepares you for the drop of the green like NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. JR, Jimmy Kenny, and the prettiest of the bunch, Wendy Venturini, share who has the ticket to go fast and keep it up front.
I like how they sat on that stage, on that Home Depot built deck.
It is a great looking stage, and make sure to tune in tomorrow, 11:30 Eastern on Speed, NASCAR Race Day. We have got 40 laps to go at Talladega. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway for the Talladega 250. Mark Martin out in front as we've completed 60 laps of the 94 prescribed.
Yeah, and if you did what I told you not to do, which was channel surf, you tuned on the TV to see us start, Mark Martin was up front. He's been in the back. He's been a lap down, and now he's back in the front again. That's what I always think at Talladega when I think about racing here. It's like it says in the Bible: who is first will be last, and who is last will be first. And that's what happened.
Mark Martin was one lap down on lap number 24. Got the Aaron's Lucky Dog, which that's the 2nd time he's gotten Aaron's Lucky Dog in his last 2 truck races, and now he's leading. And the key is, we're 60 laps into this race, nobody has to make any more pit stops
And
unless they want to.
That's big.
And
that just means it's all about shuffling and track position. And Phil, they've been respectful, but as there's 30 to go and 20 to go, it's going to get out of hand.
Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Chevy, Toyota, your top 5. Mark Martin, Mike Wallace, Brendan Gaughan running 3rd. The 75 of Eric Almirola 4th, and Todd Bodine in 5th.
Got a couple of new cats up in the top 5.
A little shuffling around of positions. We see the South Point number 77 making his way up toward the front.
Yeah, we haven't seen Brendan right up front, nor have we seen Eric Almirola up front. But right now they're in the top 5. Some good pit strategy, and right now they're in position. Now, what can they do with that position?
Mark Martin out in front. Let's do a speed drop back. We'll start with Ray Dunlap.
Well, that number 6 truck is running good. We expected him to be right up there, but the good news is they brought back chassis number 30. That's the exact same truck that Mark Martin used earlier this year to win at Daytona. And remember, guys, he had to come in, clean off that tear off, go to the back, and had a lot of work to get his way all the way to the front. Now, right behind him is the Geico Chevrolet for Mike Wallace. It has been 36 races since he last won, but it was a long, long time ago at Bakersfield back in 2000. Hermie?
Brendan Gaughan in the 7070 truck has been playing the track position game. Pitted on in his last pit stop for fuel only. Started 34th, now in 3rd when he can go the distance. So he's at good track position at the right part of the race. Krista?
Guys, Brendan Gaughan currently running 3rd. Brendan Gaughan had some great practice times, but you know, practice doesn't really mean anything. He said you got to be there at the right time, in the right place at the right time. Of course, Brendan Gaughan coming off a run out in Vegas where his home track is and coming up for Texas where he's very good. He's just said he's just trying to get out of Talladega surviving. Ray?
75 of Eric Almirola said his truck's been just a little bit of tight, and they had a tiny bit of a vibration. Last time they came in, that truck got fuel only.
Teammates Todd Bodine and Ted Musgrave running very well together on that last stop. They came in with fuel only. You can probably hear the crew of Todd Bodine cheering behind me saying, come on, as Todd Bodine gets pushed across the track. Ray.
The number 50 of David Reagan is having a pretty good run. Now realize these guys were up in the front with the 99, the number 6, and the 50. But guess what? The 99's not there anymore. Reagan said, where did he go? They said, well, it was a bad pit stop. Mike Bliss is the number 16, and he also lost a few spots on that pit stop. He had dropped back a few piston, but here goes Bliss to the high side. That's the side he believes that the winning pass is going to come from. So you see the 16 all the way up there. And guess what, guys? Don't count out Front Row Joe. The number 46 is on its way. The Army Chevrolet moving to the front for the first time today.
59 of Chad Chaffin, a 2-time winner in the Craftsman Truck Series, driving Jim Harris Trucking Toyota. They made a manufacturer change a few races ago. He's got that truck in the lead pack.
Wow, Todd Bodine almost led this race, Phil. They got crazy at the front. He almost got the lead, but Mark Martin squeezed him up high coming down the front straightaway and was able to maintain the lead.
Let's continue with our drive back. Let's go back down to Hermie Sadler.
Bobby Hamilton Jr., up and down day for the Bobby Hamilton Racing Team. He got caught with debris. The battery box on the 40 truck came off and went through the grill of the 18 truck. They've been in several times to repair the front end of that 18, but now the truck appears to be running the best it has all day, and he's still primed for a good finish. Krista?
We haven't talked much about Dennis Setzer today. It's kind of been a down day for him, but he is currently running 13th. Dennis said his truck is very good here at Talladega. It has been, but he said one of the things he loves about this new pavement, the fact that the transition between the track and the apron is not as steep. It allows the angle to lessen to keep the air from getting underneath. He said he really likes what they've done with this track. Rick?
Well, Brendan Gaughan dropped back through the field there in that South Point 77. It looks as though something was wrong with that truck as he went backward very quick.
These drivers feel a sense of urgency right now. They know the laps are winding down. They know there's not going to be any more pit stops. There could be some caution flags, but right now they're taking chances they didn't do early in the race, Michael.
And you can't have that urgency here, Phil. That's what causes problems. But if you want to get to the front, if you want to win the race, it's time to get up, start positioning yourself to do just that.
Well, they're jostling for position right now, and we still have 28 laps to go. That's quite a few laps here at Talladega. But Mark Martin out in front of Todd Bodine and Ted Musgrave. Those two teammates could work together and work against Mark Martin.
I don't think I can hold my breath for 28 more laps.
I'm going to go crazy. My heart rate is jumping a lot. And I'm very I'm good with words.
very got good with the words.
And I can't even explain it. That's what this place does to you, Phil, when you've been out there in that and you understand what these guys are trying to figure out, how they're positioning themselves to try to win at Talladega.
And Michael, this is, as you well know, this is not a physically exhausting race to run. These guys are going to be out here for 250 miles, but they will be emotionally spent. This is an emotionally exhausting race, trying to determine where you should be every single second.
Very mental. Each lap, they've got to think, and their spotters have got to tell them, okay, the line on the outside's moving, the line on the inside's moving. There's an opening here, there's an opening there.
It hurts my feelings that you call us mental, but yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with it.
It's hard to understand when they all get out of their trucks when the race is over. The cats in the top 5, they'll say, man, that was a lot of fun. I guarantee you none of them are having fun right now. Once you get to the end and you look back at what you did, yeah, that was fun. But while you're doing it, it's just work.
2 and 3 wide, continuing around this super speedway, the biggest racetrack the trucks have ever run on. Out in front of the field, Mark Martin looking to win his second super speedway race of the season. Can he hold on? Points leader Todd Bodine. We'll find out. Wednesday night on Speed, catching all new shooting cars with late night TV calls. Who knows what's in store? How about a safe, a 5-story building, and a junk car waiting below? All in a day's work for Picture Cars East. Plus, go behind the scenes and the high-octane stunts from Will Smith's movie. Tune in for Shooting Cars Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Think about that, a 5-story building, a safe, and a junk car. I'm guessing we're going to see something drop.
I would think so. I would think so.
We don't want to see anything drop here at Talladega.
Except for the checker without these guys wiping out. But every lap that goes by, the action gets more intense. They're up in turn 4 right now, Phil. And look at that glob.
More 3 wide all the way around the racetrack. There's Brendan Gaughan, the 77 on the outside leading that group.
Look behind. Look the last guy, Phil. That's Bobby East.
Had a hard crash.
He blew a tire and crashed at Talladega. He's in the lead pack.
Unbelievable. John Monson, his guys did some great repairs to get that truck back on the racetrack, and he's able to run around in this lead pack. Now, realize he's still running 29th, but that is the lead pack.
All right, as drivers, if NASCAR calls down on your radio and says, okay, guys, you got to give each other a little more room with 20 laps to go, or are you saying, what are you talking about?
No, you just say, okay, I hope everybody's listening.
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
I'm doing a great job in my space here. If everybody else will do the job I'm doing in their space, we won't have any trouble.
Well, you guys mentioned Bobby East in that crash. Krista, what's he talking about?
Well, the irony, guys, is he had that trouble. Yeah, blew that tire right front, did tons of damage. Actually, the fender knocked the toe out. But the irony is that back on lap 43, he said his truck was awesome. They took fuel only. He said he has had a stout truck all weekend. He said, guys, I think some veterans are going to actually want to draft with me, even though I've never been to a track this big.
Well, Krista, you're gonna draft with whoever's gonna help you. It may be your teammate. It may not be your teammate. It may be a rookie. You're gonna draft with whoever can help you. But right now, remember, listen, we've got a big picture here. We've got a point battle. Todd Bodine, the 30 truck right there running second. He is 91 points ahead of Johnny Benson, and that's Johnny right there behind Todd's teammate, Ted Musgrave. Johnny's in 4th.
And the third place cat in the points, Rudiman there in the Napa truck, he's running 6th. So these guys that are racing for the championship, they're doing all they can do. They're right at the front of the pack. Look at that spoiler. That thing's vibrating on the 46, Phil.
Yeah, that 46 truck right there, spoiler. NASCAR's taking a look at that. It has come loose on the very right-hand side of the right half of that rear spoiler. NASCAR's taking a good close look at it right now. They may deem that necessary to bring him down on pit road to make some repairs.
Be interesting. It looks like to me that might be a performance advantage with that spoiler falling off the back of that thing. I wouldn't be surprised if NASCAR didn't black flag them.
Point standings as they run. Johnny Benson's dropped 5 points. We're hearing that a black flag is coming out for the 46. Joe Nemechek will have to bring that Army number 46 Chevrolet.
Those 5 trucks, the top 5 in points, are all within the top 7 or 8 trucks here, Phil. These guys are doing all they can do to erase that advantage that Todd Bodine has, but he's been solid today.
He sure has. He's been right up front this entire race, and obviously so has Mark Martin in the number 30 Lumber Liquidators Toyota.
You know, if your spoiler will lay back like that, first of all, it's a hazard. If that thing falls off, it could fly a million miles up in the air. And then secondly, it could give you a little bit of a performance advantage laying back like that, Phil.
Mark Martin's been out in front of the field for 23 laps. Ray.
Oh. Mark Martin was just saying to himself, he said, who's lined up behind me there? They said, yes, it is teammates. It is Bodine and Musgrave. He said, well, where'd my teammates go? They said, he's not very close right now. They're about 10 back. He said, let's try to help those guys work up here because we're going to need some teammate help if we're going to hold those guys off.
Well, Ray, I don't think the only way he's going to help them get up there is to back off and get with him, and I don't think that's going to happen. Krista.
Yeah, speaking of teammate help, that is exactly what nobody wants to see in their rearview mirror is the teammates of Todd Bodine and Ted Musgrave lined up nose to tail. But you guys better believe that Todd Bodine is very conscious of where Johnny Benson is on this track. Remember, Johnny Benson has made up 91 points on Bodine in just the last 4 races. They've gotten on the radio and let Todd know every lap that Johnny is back there.
Wow, you see the 46 there, Phil. He's got to get to pit road. Yeah, and there's Rudiman, one of our championship contenders, right behind him. He's hoping Johnny or Joe will get to pit road without letting off the gas where he can get around him and not lose a bunch of momentum.
Yeah, he needs to be ready to move up around that 46 truck. We're getting a report that if he doesn't come on pit road, that NASCAR will pull his scorecard, give him the black flag with a white cross, which means he will not be scored anymore.
The flag is being shown to Joe Nemechek in that 46. The very flag you had mentioned, the black flag with a white cross on it.
You'll never win that battle. If they say come to pit road, you bring that thing to pit road.
He has not done that, and Mark Martin continues to lead here at Talladega. Tomorrow on Speed, it's the Speed Report. Go beyond the highlights and beyond the stats, get the why with the Speed Report. Tomorrow, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Speed. And one guy asking why is going to be Chad McCumbee.
That's right. And the why is the caution is out is because we had debris on the front stretch, and there's a big chunk of debris right there in turn number 3, and that's a 08 truck.
His truck wouldn't go anymore. He's waving at the safety truck to push him home.
GPS store on board that truck for the rest of this year.
What about Derek Koch today?
Yeah.
Blew a left rear, saved the truck, was sideways and saved it.
Stayed on the lead lap.
And now he's racing in the front of the lead pack.
So Derek Koch currently being scored in 9th. We're under our 5th caution in our inaugural race at Talladega Superspeedway.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Suzuki, makers of performance-driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles, and by Ford F-Series, built for bold moves, built for tough.
And welcome back to Talladega. We're still under our 5th caution, and we have completed 81 laps up to this point. Well, how did we get to 81 laps? A beautiful day at Talladega to start this one off. Adrenaline very high as the trucks came to the green flag. And early on, there were problems for Mark Martin.
Mark Martin overheated because of a piece of a tear off on his grill. You see the steam coming out at the base of the windshield. His guys do quick pit work, get that torn off, and he gets the lucky dog.
Another guy who had problems, the right side window coming out of the number 5 Toyota Tundra. They had to replace that. He had to come down on pit road. This is before any cautions had taken place today.
And both these guys have recovered, and Mark's leading. And this is another guy that's recovered. Derek Koch blows a tire, about crashes, and he's raced his way to the front. All 3 of the guys we've seen have trouble so far are in the top 10 right now.
Your lap 34, Scott Lagasse Jr. erupts an engine in his Bobby Hamilton Racing Dodge.
No, he's not in the top 10, Phil.
He's not in the top 10.
That ended his
He's
day.
actually in the garage.
On 43, Robert Richardson with a fun ride. The left rear tire blows for him. He doesn't get into the inside wall.
That wasn't fun for Robert.
And he's on the lead lap, Robert Richardson.
Mark Martin, after getting the lucky dog, being a lap down, was able to get in front. But then it was Bobby East having problems in the number 21.
That amazes me. He had a crash and he's on the lead lap. Look at Rudiman. He's sitting there and they're crashing all around him. He says, when y'all get done spinning out, I'm going to go about my business.
His crew says, go back to the racetrack.
That was Aaron Crocker getting spun around. Ron Hornaday coming off of pit road. Out in front of the field after 82 laps, Mark Martin leads. We've had 8 different drivers up in front, 10 lead changes.
Hey, let's see if Mike Wallace will tell us how he's going to win this race. Everybody thinks he's a guy that can win it. Hey, Mike Wallace, it's Michael up in the speed booth. Can you copy, or am I bothering you?
It's fine, Michael. Go ahead.
Well, like everybody says, you know, you're as good as there is at this Daytona and Talladega type racing. You're sitting in the top 10, 6 right now. How are you going to win this race? You got 11 green flag laps to try to get it done. Do you have a plan, or is it all just how it unfolds and you react?
Well, you know, it's just the way it's going to unfold. I mean, the only way we're going to have to be able to do it is go to the outside. As long as somebody will go on the outside with us, you know, we'll be all right. But we'll ride for a lap or two, get up to speed here, and I definitely want to win this race. But, you know, the Geico Chevrolet is running awful well, and, you know, we're going for it. Mark's up there leading. I think we can outrun him.
Well, I think you can, too. I think it's going to be fun watching you try to win this thing. And if you can get that thing on your hood to victory lane, that'll be a great shot, that Geico thing. So go get them.
That's 10-4. We're going to take the Gecko to victory lane. We got bad boy mowers on the back of it, so we're going to mow down the competition right now.
That looks like something you would find in your yard if you were mowing that thing.
I don't think I'd like to find that. My kids would, but I would try to stay away from little green animals in my yard.
What do y'all think? Do we get all the way to checkered without a caution?
I think we do.
You do?
Yep. I went on record as saying I didn't think we were going to have the big one. I still maintain that, but it's going to be exciting.
When they come to the green flag, 11 laps of racing remaining. Mark Martin out in front of the field. Todd Bodine right behind him. Teammate Ted Musgrave in third.
It may take till they get to the backstretch, but I think you're going to see some trucks fan out here because right now the guy running 12:15, he knows he's going to have to make something happen. He's only got about 10 laps to do it.
A great restart there for Mark Martin, Todd Bodine, and Ted Musgrave. They jumped out to about a 3 or 4 truck lead, but here comes A.J. Allmendinger bringing the second pack.
That's not going to help a thing. A.J.'s going to get there with a head of steam, but you know, A.J. really doesn't know what to do, Phil. He hasn't seen much of this stuff. He's liable just to try to get the best finish he can, lay in line, and that's what he did when he got there.
I talked to him yesterday. He said if we can run all the laps here, finish maybe on the lead lap, that will be a success, and he's doing a terrific job so far. Herbie.
Listen to the radio traffic for Ron Hornaday Jr. You know, his truck owner is Kevin Harvick, NASCAR Next Step Cup Series driver. He told him on the radio before this restart to look out for Todd Bodine, Ted Musgrave, and the 23 of Johnny Benson to try to go to the outside of Mark Martin. He asked his driver, Ron Hornaday, to be a bottom feeder, stay on the bottom, and try to win this race that way. Krista?
Going back to the 24 of A.J. Allmendinger, he's been trying to take that outside line, and Ted Musgrave has been blocking him, kind of shutting him down. So A.J.'s crew chief said, hey, just stick on the bottom. That's the place to be. You see, A.J.'s kind of strung out, though. He doesn't really have anyone sucked up behind him. Ron Hornaday, if he can catch up to him, maybe they can get ahead of steam and try to push themselves back up to that front pack. Those front three, again, Bodine, Musgrave, and Martin. Mark Martin leading the teammates from Germain. Ray.
Hey, Krista, I'll tell you, I already talked about this, but Mark Martin knows he has no teammates there. He says, are the 50 and 99 coming? And the answer is yes. Right now, they're going to the high side. Eric Darnell is hooked up with David Reagan, and don't be surprised if those two trucks don't get up there and help Mark Martin, but there is a lead change. Here goes Todd Bodine to the front.
He will need help because Mark Martin is falling back now.
No, he's going to need help from NASCAR. He drove under the yellow line to make that pass, and he didn't get the spot back. I think that he could be in trouble for this pass.
This could be huge for Todd Bodine in the number 30. Let's take another look.
NASCAR. Wayne Aughton in the driver's meeting was very explicit. He said you cannot improve your position by going under the yellow line. Let's see if we can take a look at it.
He's way under the yellow line, Phil. You can't make this move if you're racing for a championship.
There he went. Todd Bodine is going to receive the black flag, and we got problems with the 25. Boston Reed in the 25 has spun around. The caution has come out.
And the 30 truck of Todd Bodine is receiving the black flag. He got a big break, Michael, by the caution being out, but he is going to lose all his track position. He's going to go from the lead all the way back to about the 28th position.
Now, the rule, they'll tell you in the driver's meeting, if you go under the yellow line to improve your position, you may be black flagged. They also say that if you block someone under the yellow line in an effort to keep them behind you, you may be black flagged. What Mark did, Mark made a swap. He made a swarp at blocking Todd, but then he said, okay, you're there, and pulled up. Todd went under the line. He did not let off the gas and give up the momentum he got by going under the line. It's as simple as the nose on your face. That's a penalty. There's nothing to argue.
There's Mike Helmut Jr. He's doing his argument. It's a futile effort right there because the 30 truck of Todd Bodine has already received the black flag. He will have to make his way down pit road. That's all there is to it.
And this is huge for our points championship. This is what we talked about. Johnny Benson has to finish in front of Todd Bodine. Well, now Todd Bodine has to go to the back of the field.
But there's going to be 6, 7 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt started 23rd or so with 2 to go and drove to the lead. He can make all this up. I guarantee you, and it'll be fun to watch.
We see Boston Reed. He makes his way into the ambulance. Now remember, inside of 10 laps, we will start single file. And so that means that he will be back there almost, well, about 30 positions back.
The 30 truck of Todd Bodine stayed on the racetrack. You see, that's Mike Hillman Jr., his crew chief, right there on the left. He's saying that's wrong. He's telling Dennis Adcock, a NASCAR official, that that's wrong.
Krista, what's going on down there?
Well, I don't know if you could tell from our camera angle, but the entire crew down here in Todd Bodine's pit telling the officials, look up at the big screen, look at the Jumbotron, and watch the replay. They are arguing that he did not stay down behind, that he was pushed down there, it was not on his own right, and that he did nothing wrong and should not have to serve a pass-through penalty. Mike Hillman Sr., Mike Hillman Jr. telling the official, look what you're seeing right here.
But they're wrong, Krista. He went under the line and made a pass. That's a penalty.
But remember, they're going to fight everything they can because they know how big this is in the points picture. Johnny Benson is down there. They do not want to lose any more points. They're going to fight tooth and nail for the right call, whether it is the right call in the term of proper right or just the right call for them and the championship picture.
Well, Krista, we want to take a look at this one more time and see just how Todd Bodine did make this pass. They're in the tri-oval right now.
You see the 6 truck of Mark Martin leading. He's about 1.5 lanes up. Now, as Michael, as you said, he went down there to block him, but right there, they're side by side, and Todd did really not have enough room to be above the yellow line.
I was forced below it because he pushed me down there.
That was Todd saying that he was forced down below the yellow line. Here's another look.
He was, but he continued to run below the line. He has got to give up the momentum. And Phil, if Todd lets off and gets beside Mark and maybe lets Mark retain a half a truck length lead, he's going to have the momentum. He's got everyone behind him. He gets the lead anyway. So,
okay, but Michael and Phil, I want to take a look at this because Todd Bodine actually tries to make this pass. And he goes to the inside, knowing the yellow line's there.
Slow the yellow line down the inside of the track.
They forced him down there. Just to hold still. He forced him down there, Lightning. He doesn't have no choice. Wayne said that you cannot run him down. He forced him down under the yellow line.
Again, Mike Hillman Jr. is saying they forced him down, but if you look at it, he's making this pass knowing where the yellow line is, and Mark Martin's holding his line.
But what you have to understand, he did force him down there, but Todd has a choice. He could let off the gas and not go down there, and he could also let off the gas and not improve his position. He chose not to do that. That's what the rule states.
And Mark Martin, once he got down there, Mark Martin moved back up the racetrack to give him some room. And really, the way this racetrack is shaped, you actually lose a little racing room from the exit of the tri-oval before you get to turn number 1 for the blend line for pit road. So Todd has a little less room down there than he does maybe going straight down the backstretch. But nonetheless, we're going to have to see how NASCAR calls it.
At the beginning of this race, we talked about patience. I'm guessing right now Todd Bodine has no patience left because he is staying in front of this field. He doesn't want to serve any penalty. He doesn't want to go to the back. He doesn't think he's wrong.
Well, and he'll find out. I mean, it's just like when they pulled the 46's scorecard for not obeying the black flag. The call has been made. He has to serve a penalty. Now he has to refocus. Todd has to say, how many of these 20-some guys on the lead lap can I get around and get the most points I can today? That's his focus now. He needs to put this behind him.
Yeah, he's going to get the penalty. He's got to come down pit road right now to serve the pass-through penalty. So he's going to restart this race back in the 27th position. As you say, Michael, he's got to put his head back on and say, yeah, I'm going to try to salvage as many points as I can.
You know, we can't stay out.
Crystal, let's hear from his crew chief.
Yeah, catching up with Mike Hillman Jr. Obviously upset, frustration. You guys are trying to prove, saying that you are in the right. What happened? What's your take on it?
My take doesn't matter right now, Krista. My guys at Germain Racing have done a great job. The 30 and the 9 truck, we're going to finish 1-2. You know, we'll talk about it after the race with Wayne. We'll just take our penalty and do the best we can, get the best we can out of the day.
All right, that's the crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr. And they said, Todd Bodine got on the radio and said, guys, we're going to have to play their game.
I got 3 of them.
You think they'll put 4 tires on, Phil?
There's nothing to lose by doing it.
I don't know if they think it'll help them or not, but they certainly could make an adjustment here if they wanted to.
Take a look at this graphic right here. These are the last 4 races. Look how Johnny Benson has really made a move Almost 23 points a race he's gained. It looked like they were going to be about the same. Todd Bodine was leading. Johnny was in the top 3 or 4. But right now, Johnny with 2 wins in the last 4 races, 4 top 5, all top 5 finishes. He's going to be up in the top 5, and Todd Bodine is going to be in the 27th position.
They took that aerodynamic deflector off the back during that pit stop. That must mean they think they'll have more straight speed with that, and they know with just 3 or 4 laps to go, handling won't be a factor.
Ray Dunlap.
Hey guys, Todd Bodine came into this race today having led the points for the last 15 races, and that is now a new Craftsman Truck Series record. Consecutive weeks where you have led the points for 15 races. Could it be possible that he would lose that points race today?
Now let's take a look at how this impacts the point race. We know Todd came in here with a 91-point lead. He was leading, running second. Right now, where he runs on the racetrack at 27th, he has an 18-point lead on Johnny Benson.
And you know, he might have invited Ruderman and Musgrave into this chase for the championship. We might have 4 guys racing for a title, depending on how far Todd can get back toward the front.
And I think that's the big thing. We heard Mike Hillman Jr. say, hey, let's just try to get back in the top 10. You've only got a few laps left. We've completed 89 of the scheduled 94 laps here at Talladega.
Todd Bodine has to be hot, but you know, I really respect what Mike Hillman Jr. said. He said, we'll get all we can, we'll worry about it after the race. And then they went to work on the truck. They took the aerodynamic deflector off the back, and now he's going to go out there and run for the win. He ain't going to win. He's going to go out there and try to get all back he can. Ray?
Hey, Michael, Johnny Benson is back in 5th position right now, and Bill Davis, his truck owner, actually just got on the radio, and he said, look, Johnny, don't worry if you're teamed up with a Chevy, a Ford, a Toyota, or whatever is going on in front of you. He says right now I believe the 15 truck is your very best option to get to the front and have a chance to win this race. So don't worry what the manufacturer is. He says we've got to get to the front and try to win today at Talladega.
Hey, Michael, look who's running second in this race.
And luckily Ted's in front of him because he doesn't know what he's doing, you know, and he's just doing all he can do to win this race, and he's pacing right off the lead. This is going to be the greatest 4 laps ever. I love this.
Team ASC Toyota Tundra of Ted Musgrave, our defending series champion, leads them to the green flag. We're back underway at Talladega.
Look at the gap between A.J. Allmendinger and Mark Martin in the 6th truck. You don't want a gap on a restart like this because Mark Martin, when he gets there, will have a head of steam.
Ted Musgrave, the last time out at Las Vegas, finished second. He hasn't won in 06. He's won 5 years in a row. Whoa! Ted Musgrave goes out to block, not able to do it. Mark Martin's going to take the lead.
Michael, he had that momentum. He laid back there. He was about 3 truck lengths behind A.J. Allmendinger, and look at him in the lead going in 3.
Wow, that was textbook. Mark just laid off of him enough to get a big head of steam, had some pushers behind him, and he drove to the front. Coming to 3 to go, Phil.
And there's Mike Wallace in the 2nd spot. You talked to him a few moments ago. He thinks he can beat Mark Martin.
Look who jumped in there with him, Johnny Benson and David Ruderman. The fans are on their feet as they cross the start-finish line. 3 laps of racing to go.
They've completed 91 laps. They have 3 more laps, so you've got a group on the outside.
Todd Bodine's 3 wide, way up high in the back, Phil.
Trying to make his way back into the top 10 is the goal that they've set now that this penalty has been enforced. Krista.
Ted Musgrave had gotten on the radio before that pass and said, I'm going to put my truck on the bottom and I am not going to let anyone pass me. And when he said anyone, he specifically meant Johnny Benson trying to protect his teammates' lead. It did not work. Johnny Benson currently running 3rd, Ted Musgrave running 5th, and as you said, Todd Bodine trying to salvage any points he can.
You just don't know the emotion and the intensity that these cats are operating with right now. There's no margin for error, Phil.
2 laps to go. You got Mike Skinner leading a group on the outside. Mark Martin leading this race on the inside. And he's got Mike Wallace behind him and Johnny Benson and David Ruderman.
I'm going to say that you will not be able to stay on the bottom and win this race. Mark Martin cannot just lay on the bottom and think he's going to get the win. They'll get a run on the outside of him.
Mark Martin looking to win again at a super speedway. He won at Daytona to start the season, and now the first ever race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Talladega Superspeedway. And again, veteran Mark Martin out in front of the field.
Coming down for the white flag, Mike Wallace thinks he's got something for Mark Martin. Where's he going to make his move?
He's going to flare up high and hope Johnny goes with him. He doesn't have anything to lose, Phil. He isn't racing for points. He's going to try to get that gecko ahead of that Scott's truck.
Through the tri-oval, across the start-finish line, 1 lap to go at Talladega.
Todd Bodine came across the line in 14th spot, restarted in 27th, already up to 14th, and he's fanning out to the outside now.
Here comes Mike Skinner in the second line. Johnny Benson moves up. Skinner moves up higher. Mark Martin is going to try to block as they go down the backstretch.
Look at Todd Bodine right out against the wall.
Todd Bodine moved up. He made it into the top 10. He's running 3 wide.
Whoa, there they go.
There they go. Mike Wallace into the wall. And Derek Cope gets almost upside down into the wall. The caution is going to come out. The checkered is going to fly. Mark Martin out in front of the field as they come out of turn number 4. And Mark Martin will win at Talladega.
Yeah, the caution flag is out. It doesn't matter if Mike Skinner drives by him or not. This race is over, and Mark Martin has won again.
Wow.
Todd Bodine may have just made it up into the top 5 at the end of that race.
See all the Derek Cope had such a great run going after overcoming that flat left rear tire. Hard contact there. Top of your screen, that's Mike Wallace, the Geico Chevrolet. He's climbing out. He made some hard contact against the outside wall and the inside wall.
Man, you just had to know that if they had made it, it would have just been luck. Because when you get to that point, none of these guys are going to let off the gas. They're going to try to get all they can get.
Mike Wallace is out of the number 15. That's him walking across the grass infield.
They're tending to Derek Cope there.
Derek Cope almost upside down in that truck.
Here comes Derek out of that truck.
That's great to see. See Derek getting out of that truck. We already saw Mike Wallace walking away from his truck. Great job with Talladega, not only on this repaving job, safer barrier all the way around the corners of this racetrack. That's why these guys are able to walk away like they are after such hard hits.
What a tough day for Derek Cope.
Now NASCAR's got to try to figure all this out.
Well, and at the end of the race, to determine the finishing positions, not only will they use the loops, but they will use video to make sure to determine right when the caution came out, where everyone was running, and that is how they will figure out the scoring for the end of this race.
And because of the action, you know we got a lot of cameras. There's cameras everywhere. We're not going to miss
all over this bunch.
We're not going to miss anything. Let's see what happens. Skinner gets into the back of Mike Wallace.
Gets in the right rear corner and turns him up in the outside wall. Derek Cope, it looked like he got hit from behind by Todd Bodine. And I'm telling you, Michael, it looks like Todd Bodine is running 4th.
Take a look at this.
Gets hit by the 9, knocks him up into Johnny.
Look at these. They're 5 wide right now.
But the wreck didn't happen because of that.
That was Todd Bodine who got into the 40.
Todd Bodine got into the 40 of Derek Cope, just as the 5 of Mike Skinner got into the 15 of Mike Wallace.
I think Todd Bodine was 4th.
I think Todd Bodine finished 4th in this race.
Unbelievable. Todd Bodine getting penalized, goes all the way to the back, and then potentially could finish 4th in this race.
There's another shot here.
What about this glob? There's 2 things that happened. Todd Bodine turned the 40, and Mike Skinner turned the 15.
Totally separate. And those 2 incidents were totally separate within about 30 feet of each other.
And they did exactly the same thing. They got into the right rear quarter panel of the trucks they were racing.
Now, could that be, and we haven't even talked about the fact that Mark Martin has won this race, his 5th win, but could that be, I mean, can it be a penalty for Todd Bodine?
Well, it's the last lap. I don't think you'll see a penalty, but certainly over-aggressive driving by both those guys on the last lap.
Skinner and Bodine.
If there's such a thing as that, is there?
But we talked about it the whole race. These guys really used their heads this entire race. We got down to the very last lap here. Watch this. This is what Dennis Setzer saw here. They're 5 wide right in front of him.
But listen, Dennis, wow, did you see Derek Cope's truck?
Wow.
That looked like something from Twister.
Flying right next to him.
Watch this.
Take a look at this real time. Now they're coming down the backstretch.
They fan out. They're at least 5 wide right here. Mike Skinner's going to make some contact with Mike Wallace first.
Oh,
we broke the camera.
We'll have to get that fixed for tomorrow.
Thumper will take care of it.
Now we need to freeze it right there and try to figure out who finished where.
And NASCAR is doing exactly that.
NASCAR will do that. Remember, NASCAR will look at whatever they can available to them to determine finishing position. If this was halfway through the race, they would go to the most recent loop when the caution came out. But they will look at all our video, and they will analyze it to try to determine who finishes where.
Any means necessary to find out how the positions shake out. And we do know one position for sure, and that's Mark Martin, his 5th win of the 2006 season. Again, at the end of this one, the reason he was able to get to the checkered flag under caution is because of this. We ride along with Terry Cook. A little bump there on Brendan Gaughan, and then the melee happens in front of him. Talladega's first race ends under caution with Mark Martin winning.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman.
An unbelievable finish to the first ever running of the John Deere 250 from Talladega Superspeedway. Let's go to victory lane.
And Mark Martin comes climbing out of his Scott's Miracle Grow Ford, win number 6, and he drives truck number 6 in his career. Congratulations, Mark. You did it at Daytona. You come right back here to Talladega, and another victory. What was the secret to getting it done today?
Big fat horsepower, but in the Scott's Ford F-150, man, we had a great motor, and I don't know. I guess I was just lucky too, the way that thing turned out. You know, Todd was the one that was strong enough to do something there, and once he had his problem there, we were in good shape.
Early in the race, 280 degrees though, and you had to come down and pit. I know that being early in the race was probably the factor there.
Yeah, that put us a little bit behind there, but we had an incredible truck, and you know, right there at the end, there's no way we would have had a chance without Mike Wallace's help. You know, a whole field full of Toyotas right there behind us, and you know, they're all going to stick together. And I knew Mike Wallace. I'd helped him a bunch earlier in the race, and I know Mike Wallace real well. I knew he'd help me as much as he could, and I also knew that he would, you know, he'd do what he could to beat me on the last lap. And he was trying to get in position, and I see they widened up back there behind him, but and took him too. But Mike Wallace, without him, this wouldn't have been possible. And of course, Jack Roush loved driving this number 6 truck, and in this dream team here.
Congratulations, Mark Martin in victory lane here. He won at Daytona, and he's right back again at Talladega.
Well, I don't even feel like I need to ask Todd Bodine a question. I mean, I'm sure you have plenty to say. Let's start with your feelings, frustration, disappointment.
Both. A little of everything. Our Lumber Liquidators crew did a great job all weekend. Our Tundra was awesome. You know, it's an interpretation of a rule, and it's everybody's going to see it different. You know, hundreds of thousands of people on TV saw it different. People in the grandstand saw it different. I saw it as a clean pass. I started to pass. I was beside him before I was below the yellow line. If you're forced below the yellow line and you get back up, it's okay. I mean, that's what they tell you. And I did. Mark let me back up. He did what he had to do. I did what I had to do. I thought it was a clean pass. But that's the rule. We got to live with it. That's the problem with Talladega. You know, it's a rule that's very hard to determine what is right and wrong. It's a judgment call, and you know, NASCAR saw it one way and I saw it another. But we had a good day. I mean, I come back fourth. The Lumber Liquidators Tundra did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, we know at this point the result's still unofficial, but yeah, you came back, and obviously, I mean, you're racing for every point you can. How did you get from where you were coming through on a pass-through penalty to get up to fourth?
I have no idea. Lucky, just side drafting, a lot of side drafting. These trucks have a good side draft. Got a couple pushes from behind, got a couple lucky breaks, and just got up there. Fortunately, I mean, it could have been a real bad day for us points-wise, and turned out to be okay.
Is this championship still yours?
No, by no means. Johnny and Rick are just, their team is on a roll. They're clicking, they're doing everything right. Johnny's driving great. Rick's making the right calls. I mean, everything's going the way they need it to go. Kind of the way it went for us earlier in the year and at the end of last year. But we got a great team, or got a great Tundra, and we're not giving up by no means.
Hermie?
Mike Wallace. Mike driving the Geico truck, running second, going in turn 3 on the last lap, in position to go for the win, and then some contact. Tell us what happened.
Well, Hermie, as you know how this racing goes, I mean, Mark Martin was in front of me. He was a 6 truck, and the only truck that was behind me that I knew of was the 5 truck. And next thing I know, I was turned around. I had a run that I could have got a run on Mark, but I didn't want to have to race everybody behind us, so I just was patient for the last till we got to white flag. And coming down to white flag, I see the 5 up on the outside. You know, I moved up, Mark moved up, and you know, the guy driving that 5 truck should be a lot smarter than that. I mean, I hope I'm not talking out of contents here. I just feel like I got turned around and wrecked. And, you know, the Geico Chevrolet and Billy Ballou Motorsports did a great job today. And, You know, we had bad boy mowers on there and mowed some grass down, unfortunately, but really, really disappointed. It's a shame because this was a great race. I thought the racetrack did a great job in paving it, and it's a shame it had to come to a last lap wreck when we could have all got through here clean, but so be it.
A good run from Mike Wallace until the last lap. He'll be strong tomorrow in the next Steel Cup race as well.
Now, you see, he was trying to get to victory lane, wound up at the garbage dump. That just shows you how quick your fate can change in this business. We don't know who finished where. We know Mark won. That's all we know right now.
In a space of 1 mile, he went from running second to a wiped-out truck.
And then they put him in the garbage dump.
Mike Wallace, one of the favorites coming into this race. We ride along with Dennis Setzer, and what a ride it would have been for Dennis Setzer. Look at the number 40 truck go, wow, spinning by as he goes by him at 3 and 4.
Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman.
But Mark Martin's holding the trophy, and we're certain that they can't take that away from him because he was out front when the caution came out. We're not so sure after Mark Martin, really, what the positions will be.
Yeah, we know Mike's, or at least we believe that Mike Skinner is second. We believe that Ted Musgrave was third and Todd Bodine fourth, but beyond that, I don't think Johnny Benson was fifth. I think Johnny was farther back than that. I think David Rudeman was up there, possibly fifth or sixth. A.J. Allmendinger was up there.
We know Wallace and
Derek Cope are out.
Yeah. So this will move these guys all up a couple of spots, Phil.
Yeah, because they were not able to maintain the speed on around the racetrack, obviously because they were crashed out. So NASCAR is going to review all the video that we have to determine who finishes where, and it all depends on when they push the button to put the caution lights out.
And you know, and when I said don't channel surf, you can't even channel surf now that we're done because you got to stay tuned to see who finished where.
And they're going to have to tune in to Speed Report tomorrow night to see the exact finishing order.
Let's go down to Chris Devoto, who's with Mike Skinner.
Down here with Mike Skinner. See, we've been waiting for this interview. We knew things were going to get hairy at Talladega. We've been talking to some guys, and some guys think maybe you were driving a little too aggressive there at the end. I know deals are made during the draft. What's your take on how the race finished?
Well, we were driving very aggressive. Derek Cope and Barry Dotson made a deal with us, and they were going to stick with us, and we were pulling drafts off of people, and we just kept moving forward and moving forward. I want everybody to understand something. Billy Ballew's a friend of mine, Mike Wallace is a friend of mine, and he's one of the best drafters out here, and I feel like that was our fault. It just absolutely was not intentional. I just hope everybody knows that. We wasn't going to win the race. We were going to finish second, third, or fourth, and I sure as heck wouldn't wreck my buddy's truck for one spot. You know, it was ridiculous. But our truck wasn't very good today. The guys in the pits did a good job, and we just drafted good, and we made a deal with somebody, and they held up their end, and they just pushed us up there. It was a good day.
All right, we know deals are a part of the draft. Hermie, who have you got?
The other part of that deal Mike Skinner's talking about is Derek Cope. Derek, giving the Key Motorsport Chevrolet a great run today. Tell us what happened in turns 3 and 4 in the last lap.
Well, you know, I kind of decided to stick with Mike there, and he made a move on the outside. We went 3 wide, and I went with him. We had a real good run, and then I left just a little bit of an opening on my hip, and somebody got up, you know, on my hip there, and I probably pinched him in the wall just a little bit there, but I got off him, and I thought I was clean, and then all of a sudden I got hit from behind again and turned around and went up in the fence. But you know, it's just unfortunate. You know, great day. Fought adversity all day long with that big blown tire and saved it, and then the guys did a heck of a job. Barry Dodson, the whole crew. I feel bad for them, you know, but.
Still a great run today for Derek Cope. A great step in right direction for Key Motorsports. Rick.
Well, Derek Cope has won the biggest race in NASCAR, and he ends up wrecked on this one. Take one more look at how this race ended. The first ever race at Talladega Superspeedway, and it was a tough one. The one official that we do know is that Mark Martin is celebrating his 5th win of the 2006 season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. After that, we do know that Mike Skinner came home in second, and NASCAR is feeding us information as we go here.
We've got Ted Musgrave, the 9 and 3rd. We've got Todd Bodine, the 30 and 4th, and 5th, the 24 of A.J. Allmendinger.
It almost feels like the Florida elections. You know, we're getting reports as they come in. And this is why. If you want the why, look at Speed Report. But real quickly, this is nothing good can come from this, Phil.
No, you see trucks already touching before they even get down to the corner where the wreck's going to happen.
Right in front of Bobby Hamilton Jr., that's Ron Hornaday, and then number 33. And then more contact continues, and then that's the trucks up on the far right.
Oh,
A heck of a ride for the 40 of Derek Cope, and a hard hit for Mike Wallace in the 15 truck.
Man, it was so good to talk to Mike Wallace and Derek Cope.
This is worse than any interstate you could ever have gotten onto.
What's so amazing is this ended up being about a 2, maybe a 3 truck accident here. This could have easily been a 20 truck accident. That was the truck running second and third that got together to start with.
Watch Setzer here. He slows down. There's a terrible crash to the right. He catches some debris. Right on through the middle he goes. That's when you don't panic. When you just say, well, let's let be what will be. I'm going to just hang on to ride through the middle of it.
Again, an unbelievable finish here at Talladega in the first ever running of the John Deere 250 from Talladega Superspeedway for the Truck Series. We didn't expect the big one. We really didn't see a big one until right there at the end of the race.
That was a big one, though.
It was a big one.
It didn't take a lot of trucks.
It was, but what a great day. The truck guys, they ran 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide this entire race. Mark Martin battled back from a lap down on lap number 24, got the lucky dog, ends up back in victory lane. What a terrific job by these truck guys. Unfortunately, we had to have the accident on the last lap, but still, all in all, a terrific day, a great crowd, and a beautiful day here at Talladega.
Mark Martin was first, and then he was last, and then he was first again, just like we thought might happen at Talladega. And what great racing. They raced side by side, 3 and 4 wide. Nobody ever made a mistake. It just came down to the last lap, Phil. There was 6 trucks trying to squeeze into a 3 or 4 truck lane. Doesn't work.
Super Speedway Racing. Ted Musgrave comes home third again on a Super Speedway, and he's with Chris Kubota.
Well, Ted Musgrave definitely has some momentum here in these last few races, but I want to know if things hadn't gotten hairy there at the end, was that going to be a 1-2 finish for Jermaine? Was that pretty much a guarantee?
I don't know. It looked like it was going to be. You know, when Ty got that penalty, there was 2 emotions in my head. It was like, wow, I got the lead. Oh, no, my truck won't lead the race. It's too slow. So I was kind of hoping he could stay up there, and him and I could push each other up to the front, or we're in the front, stay up front. But, man, I'll tell you what, Team AC guys did a really good job for me. It's my Daytona truck. I know it was draggy. It handled real well. It's a good show. We'll just come out there, build something better, and come back and try and beat Mark. But that's all we need. We'll build another truck and come back.
All right, the gauntlet has been laid down. That's Ted Musgrave. Rick?
Well, up to this point, we believe that the top 10 has been decided by NASCAR. It was Mark Martin, Mike Skinner, Ted Musgrave, Todd Bodine, A.J. Allmendinger, David Rudiman, and then David Reagan, the 59.
Stacy
Chad Chapman.
Chad Chapman, 33 of Ron Hornaday, and the 23 of Johnny Benson.
If that's the case, then Todd Bodine will gain about 26 points or something like that on Johnny Benson. We looked like he was going to lose a bunch of points, and he's up gaining points.
Bumping and banging going on here at Talladega. Well, it's going to continue in 2 weeks when we go to Martinsville.
But the results from Martinsville won't be near as catastrophic if you get out of control here at Talladega, Rick.
Fans were on their feet from the start of this race until the end of this race. It was a beautiful day here in Talladega, Alabama for the first ever running of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at this super speedway. There were the accidents, but it took until the final lap to see the big one when we almost had one get upside down.
We knew it was going to be exciting. It lived up to its billing from the lap 1 to the very last lap.
I can finally breathe, Rick.
Trucks put on another great race at Super Speedways. Mark Martin, your winner at Talladega.